Chapter 106, Zhao Tianyou lures him again. Zhao Tianyou, Lin Shen, you should also know that what's yours is yours, and what's not yours is not yours. After saying that, he was about to get back in his car and leave. Lin Shen came, and he couldn't go and give Su Mengyao the flowers anymore. Zhao Tianyou, you don't want these flowers, do you? I think they're quite pretty, and it would be a shame to waste them. Sell them to me, and I'll pay you back for how much you bought them for. Lin Shen said with a smile. Zhao Tianyou. If it were just him and Lin Shen, he would have thrown the flowers in Lin Shen's face. But now Lin Xiaoxi was also there. If he wanted to pursue Su Mengyao, he had to please Lin Xiaoxi a little. You don't have to pay. Zhao Tianyou said and handed the flowers to Lin Shen. Soon Zhao Tianyou drove away angrily. Lin Shen went to his car and unbuckled Lin Xiaoxi's seatbelt. Cici, you have to go on your own. Dad has to get the food in this flower. Lin Shen kissed Lin Xiaoxian and said. Lin Xiaoxian nodded. Dad, I don't like Uncle Zhao. I don't like him either. But this flower of his is still pretty good. Lin Chen laughed. Soon they went upstairs, and the exclusive elevator for high-level users took them directly to the floor where Su Mengyao was. Cici. Lin Gu. Some people greeted Lin Chen and them. Lin Xiaoxian had known them for a long time, and many people in the company had also gotten to know Lin Chen during the basketball game. Knock, knock. Lin Chen knocked on the door to the CEO's office. Come in. Su Mengyao's cold voice came from the room. This voice was slightly different from the one she used at home. Mom. Lin Xiaoxian said happily as the door opened. Cici. Su Mengyao's eyes lit up. Lin Xiaoxi giggled. Mom, Dad and I are here to bring you dinner. Are you happy? Of course I'm happy. Su Mengyao said warmly. Here you go, honey. Lin Chen handed Su Mengyao the flowers. Su Mengyao took them, a little surprised. Honey, you and Xiaoxi had time to go to a flower shop and buy flowers? Lin Chen, I ran into Zhao Tianyou downstairs, and he didn't need the flowers anymore. I said I'd buy them from him for free. What a good guy. Su Mengyao pouted. He probably hates you. He's given flowers before, but I never accepted them. Lin Chen nodded with a smile. You should hurry up and eat. The food will lose a lot of flavor if it sits in the lunchbox for too long. Su Mengyao put the flowers aside, opened the lunchbox, and there were a total of 4 dishes. She took out the dishes and her appetite was aroused. Lin Chen's cooking was much better than the food in the company cafeteria. Mom, is it delicious? You haven't eaten Dad's cooking for a long time. We'll come and bring you lunch. Su Mengyao nodded. Of course it's delicious. She looked at Lin Chen. It felt so good to have a husband who cared about her. Mengyao, which side are you going back to tonight? Lin Chen asked. Lin Xiaoxi looked at Su Mengyao expectantly. She hadn't seen her for a few days, and even though they spoke on the phone every day, she missed her mother. I'll go back to your place. Su Mengyao said with a slight blush. Lin Chen had her clothes anyway. She had pajamas, and she also brought a few sets of other clothes to change into. Yes. Lin Xiaoxi was overjoyed. Mom, can I wait for you and Dad to get off work? Su Mengyao shook her head. Cici, this is not okay. Mom will be busy until late, and you are still young. You need to grow up, so you need to go to bed early and sleep well at night. Mom promises to be there at night, okay? Lin Xiaoxian nodded. In the blink of an eye, it was already past 9 p.m. Lin Xiaoxian went to bed. The knock on the door sounded, and Lin Chen opened the door. As expected, it was Zhao Tianyou who had come to the door. Zhao Tianyou, what's the matter? Lin Chen said indifferently, and he had no intention of moving aside. Zhao Tianyou said in a deep voice, Lin Chen, after all, you used my flowers, I have no problem going in for a visit, right? Lin Chen smiled slightly. For the sake of your bouquet of flowers, come in. Zhao Tianyou went over to the sofa and sat down. Lin Chen, what have you thought about what I told you? Zhao Tianyou said in a deep voice. Lin Chen sat down as well and said, I haven't even considered it. Zhao Tianyou's eyes flashed with brilliance. Lin Chen, I don't know if you're aware, but the company has recently encountered some trouble, and Su Mengyao went abroad to deal with it. Don't look at the Su family as being very wealthy, but they are in a lot of trouble. If the Su family falls, what will happen to you and Lin Xiaoxi? You need to think more about yourself and your daughter. Lin Chen, are you done? If you're done, you can go. Zhao Tianyou was annoyed. He took a deep breath and continued, Lin Chen, I'll give you 5 million. When you marry someone else, I'll give you another 3 million. And I'll arrange a job for you that pays 1 million a year. What do you say? Lin Chen shook his head. Zhao Tianyou, don't you understand that even if I withdraw, you have absolutely no hope? Meng Yao feels nothing for you. Understand? Besides, your family is trying to swallow a camel, but do you have the appetite for it? You're not afraid of choking to death? Zhao Tianyou said coldly, you don't need to worry about that. Just take the money and leave. My conditions are already extremely good, so you'd better be satisfied. Lin Chen said indifferently, once you're done talking, you can leave. I'm not interested. Not even in 80 million, not even in 800 million. Zhao Tianyou gritted his teeth, Lin Chen, don't say you'll regret it. Lin Chen pointed to the door. Zhao Tianyou left angrily. Lin Chen pondered, the Zhao family wanted to swallow an elephant, did they not know that they might have indigestion when they swallowed it? Or did they have other plans in the dark? It was close to midnight when Su Mengyao returned. Lin Chen was watching TV in the living room. Lin Chen, why aren't you asleep yet? Lin Chen smiled and said, waiting for you. Zhao Tianyou came by, he plans to give me 8 million plus 1 million annual salary. He still hasn't given up. I feel there's something wrong. Su Mengyao pondered, Aunt Liang's birthday, we attended together, although they didn't go, they should know. Lin Chen said, he knows that we got married. And now he should also know that we have feelings for each other. In this situation, the significance of him continuing is not as great. Su Mengyao's face turned slightly red. By the way, your company has recently encountered trouble, and he knows about it. He should be clear that even if the snake swallows the elephant successfully, the Zhao family will be able to handle the crisis in the future? Su Mengyao thoughtfully said, you mean, the Zhao family may have secretly colluded with outsiders? Lin Chen nodded slightly. I don't think this possibility is low. The Zhao family is still very useful to foreign enemies. Others may also promise a lot in order to win them over. You have to be careful that the Zhao family will dig a pit for you in the end. Su Mengyao's eyebrows wrinkled slightly. The Zhao family has many people in their company, and Zhao Tianyou's father, Zhao Huayuan, is still the company's vice president. He knows a lot of company secrets, and if he digs a pit, it will be hard to prevent. I will be careful. Su Mengyao nodded. Lin Chen, wife, you go take a bath quickly, and you accompany Shishi to bed. Or the three of us can sleep together. Su Mengyao gave Lin Chen a wide-eyed glance. Don't even think about it for now. Lin Chen smiled and said, what about in the future? It depends on your performance in the future, haha. After Su Mengyao finished speaking, she quickly went to the master bedroom to take a shower. Chapter 107, Calligraphy reaches legendary level. Su Mengyao finished showering and lay down in the covers, looking at her sleeping daughter. A happy smile appeared on her face. 3 years ago, after that incident, countless nights she had curled up in the covers and silently wept, sometimes waking up several times a night from her sleep. Originally, her life was extremely happy. Her parents loved her, and her family conditions were extremely advantageous. That kind of thing hit her incredibly hard. Fortunately, that's all in the past now. Su Mengyao thought silently, and the ice in her heart gradually melted. But it takes more than 1 day to freeze 3 feet of snow, and her psychological problems will not be resolved in just 1 or 2 months. The next day, Su Mengyao woke up. She got dressed and went outside, where Lin Chen was making breakfast. Good morning, honey. Su Mengyao said coyly. Lin Chen looked at Su Mengyao in surprise. Now that they were not outside and Lin Xiaoxi was not there to remind her, Su Mengyao had taken the initiative to call him her husband. Good morning, my dear. Lin Chen said with a smile. Su Mengyao's pretty face quickly turned red. She quickly said, you're almost done with breakfast. I'll go wake up Xiaoxi, or she'll think I didn't come over last night. After saying that, she quickly walked away and returned to the master bedroom. Soon, Lin Xiaoxian was awakened. She mumbled, Mom, you're off work, so come up quickly and let's go to bed together. Su Mengyao scratched her little nose, no sleeping, it's morning already. Mom just got back, Mom's getting up, Dad's almost done with breakfast. Do you want to get up and have breakfast with Mom? Lin Xiaoxian looked at Su Mengyao with a dumbfounded expression. Mom, it's not even dawn yet. Su Mengyao pulled back the curtains and the room suddenly brightened. It's already bright out, the sun is about to rise. Get up quickly, after breakfast, Mommy will go to work. Lin Xiaoxi hurriedly got up. Some clear snot came out of her nose. Su Mengyao quickly gave her a tissue to wipe it away, then she quickly helped Lin Xiaoxi get dressed. Lin Chen, Xiaoxi has clear snot. Su Mengyao said as she carried Lin Xiaoxi outside. In the morning, moved, she called her husband, but now she didn't, and there was no need to do so all the time. Cici, open your mouth and let Daddy have a look. Lin Chen said. Lin Xiaoxi opened her mouth, and Lin Chen looked at it and said, You've caught a cold. You must have kicked the quilt last night. Su Mengyao said with self-reproach, I slept too deeply last night, and slept until morning. I guess she didn't cover herself with the quilt for a long time after kicking it, and got cold. Lin Xiaoxi said, Mom, I have an idea. What is it? Su Mengyao asked doubtfully. Lin Xiaoxi giggled and said, We can sleep together, so that Dad can cover me with the quilt. Am I clever? Su Mengyao said. Lin Chen laughed and said, Shishi, if we sleep together, we might fight over the quilt, and you'll get even colder. Wife, don't worry, it's normal for children to catch a cold. Dr. Lin will cure her. Lin Xiaoxian's illness will improve his medical skills. He won't deliberately let Lin Xiaoxian get sick, but he's not afraid of Lin Xiaoxian getting sick either. A little illness will improve his medical skills, so that he can handle more serious situations in the future. You'll have to work hard again. Su Mengyao looked at Lin Chen and said. Lin Chen shook his head, it's not hard at all. Compared to your 10 months of pregnancy, this is nothing. Go wash up and have breakfast. Su Mengyao nodded. Su Mengyao went to work, and Lin Chen boiled medicine for Lin Xiaoxi to drink. His medical skills began to improve. At noon, Lin Xiaoxi took a nap, and Liang Zhirong and the others came to the door. They brought the contract and the equity transfer agreement. The publishing contract was easy to negotiate, and Lin Chen signed it after a casual glance. He carefully read the equity transfer agreement. Although he trusted Liang Zhirong and the others more, and he felt that they wouldn't dare to pull any tricks. One still had to be careful. If there were any loopholes in the equity transfer agreement, it would not be a trivial matter. Swish swish. Lin Chen signed his name. President Liang, is that all? Lin Chen asked. Liang Zhirong shook his head, there are other procedures, but I can take care of those. Mr. Lin, from now on we are comrades in arms. Chen Xinhuan was full of emotion. It had only been a short time, and Lin Chen had become one of his bosses. Lin Chen laughed, I hope tongxin.com will get better and better. Chen Xinhuan, Mr. Lin, the fairy tales you translated have become popular overseas. Many publishers have contacted us, including some very powerful ones. Lin Chen, there's no rush. I have confidence in my fairy tales. Over time, more and more people should recognize and like them. Let's talk about it next week. Chen Xinhan and the others nodded. Lin Chen was in no hurry, so they were even less so. They didn't have the overseas rights to those fairy tales. Liang Zhirong stood up, Lin Zong, we'll be going now. The royalties for the third book will be transferred to your account soon. Please take care of the autographed books when the time comes. Lin Chen nodded. After Liang Zhirong and the others left, not long after, Lin Xiaoxian woke up. She had a cold and was not suitable for outdoor exercise, so Lin Chen took her home to write and draw. Host, your calligraphy has been upgraded to legendary level. The system's voice suddenly sounded in Lin Chen's mind. Along with the system's voice, a lot of information flooded into Lin Chen's mind, and it was as if Lin Chen's mind had suddenly opened up. There was a big difference between legendary level and top grandmaster. System, is my current level higher than the ancient calligraphy masters? Lin Chen asked in his mind. System, yes, host. The top grandmaster is the limit of humans. You have reached the legendary level, which has surpassed the limit of humans and reached a higher level. The words of the top grandmasters have artistic conception. People with a sufficient level can observe and appreciate them and have an endless aftertaste. However, the words of the top grandmasters are meaningless to many ordinary people, and they cannot appreciate the artistic conception. Host, your calligraphy has reached the legendary level and achieved a context. Your works can have emotions and can resonate with ordinary people's emotions. Lin Chen concluded, to put it simply, the original characters were still dead, but now they have come to life? Yes, host. Time passed by second by second. With the assistance of the system, Lin Xian quickly assimilated and digested the experience he gained. Dad, look at my characters. Lin Xiaoxian looked up at Lin Chen. Cici, it seems like you've gotten better at writing characters. As long as we work hard, we can become even better. Lin Chen said with a pretense of surprise. His calligraphy had reached legendary levels, and Lin Xiaoxi's talent had improved, so naturally the characters she wrote were better. However, according to Lin Chen's observations, her talent in calligraphy was not as high as her talent in painting. Her basic talent in painting should be over 30, and now it was over 90. Lin Xiaoxi's basic talent in calligraphy should be in the low 20s. A twofold increase would be over 60. That wasn't bad. A talent of over 60 was considered a provincial leader. Chapter 108, Holding Hands with You, Growing Old with You. Ding. The bank sent a text message. Lin Chen took out his phone and looked at it. The 6 million royalties had arrived. The initial print run for the third book was also 1 million copies. Judging from the large number of reader responses in the book review area, he estimated that the 1 million copies should be sold out relatively quickly. The quality of this book is better, and a large number of readers have long been looking forward to buying it. Moreover, he has accumulated a lot more readers. Drip. It wasn't long before Chen Xinhan called. Lin, your royalties have just been transferred. The 1,000 signed copies should arrive tomorrow morning. Shall I send them to the same address? Chen Xinhan asked. Lin Chen laughed, Editor-in-Chief, if you sign today, the books will be delivered tomorrow. You guys are really fast. Lin, there's nothing we can do. Recently, the website has received a lot of blades. Readers are urging you to publish the third book in print, but you haven't finished writing it yet, and we didn't even sign a contract at that time. Do you think we're being unfair? We've already done all the preparatory work. Once we sign the contract, we'll notify the printer to start work immediately. Chen Xinhan on the other end of the phone felt a little helpless. What's the point of readers urging them to publish faster on their website? Lin Chen, Editor-in-Chief, is it true that there are really that many blades? Chen Xinhuan, Lin Zong, of course it's real. Some people came to deliver them in person, and some sent them to us by courier. We can't even fit them all in a basket. Lin Chen laughed, I'm now one of the shareholders of tongxian.com, so they've sent the blades to the right place. Chen Xinhuan. That's a good point. Editor-in-Chief, there's still space, and the key is in the usual place. The shop he bought is currently being renovated, and the original one has not yet been returned, so there is no problem delivering the books there. Okay. The next day, Lin Chen took Lin Xiaoxi to the shop. Large cardboard boxes were placed inside. Cici, you play with the drawings, Daddy has to work. Lin Chen smiled. Daddy, you work. Lin Xiaoxi sensibly started drawing next to him. Lin Chen took out the fountain pen Su Mengyao had given him. This type of fountain pen is perfect for signing. Swish swish. Lin Chen started writing. To my wife. Take each other's hands and grow old together. Lin Chen. He finished writing the first book and put it aside. This was a gift for Su Mengyao. tongxian.com had sent over more than 1,000 books, and Lin Chen was allowed to handle some of them himself. Soon Lin Chen started signing the others. Lin Yu. Lin Chen did not deliberately hide his strength. He signed according to his current level. He could hide his strength, but it would be awkward to write. Besides, the readers did not know his real identity. Swish, swish. Book after book. There were only a total of 1,000 books, which was better to sign than the previous 3,000 books. While Lin Chen was signing his book, tongxian.com released the news that there would only be a total of 1,000 copies of the third signed book. There were 3,000 copies of the last book, why is there less? Lin Yu is getting a little too arrogant, let's boycott him together. I was planning to buy 100 or so copies, maybe I could get a signed copy, but now I don't plan to buy any. The news quickly spread after the announcement was made. Editor-in-Chief, what should we do? It seems that there are trolls deliberately stirring things up. An editor from tongxian.com came up to Chen Sinan and said, it seems that there are some trolls deliberately stirring things up. Chen Sinan's brows furrowed slightly. Lin Yu's book was extremely popular, and it was inevitable that it would affect the interests of some of the others. It was normal for someone to be blackmailing him. The fact that they were stirring things up would definitely affect many readers. You can go now. Chen Sinan waved his hand. Soon after, he called Lin Chen on the phone. President Lin, the website announced that there are only 1,000 autographed copies of the book, and now there are a lot of heated comments online, saying that you've gone soft or something. There are quite a few people in the internet army deliberately stirring things up. Lin Chen said calmly, let them be. I'm selling stories, not autographs. Those who like my stories will naturally still choose to buy my book. President Lin, but won't this affect sales? Chen Xinhan was a little worried. Lin Chen, I don't believe the impact will be that great. Real readers don't care about autographs that much. Besides, when readers get the signed books, they'll be pleasantly surprised. Chen Xinhan was puzzled, pleasantly surprised? Let's just leave it at that. Lin Chen continued signing autographs, and by noon he had finished. Li Lin, the driver from tongxin.com, woke up from his nap, and he quickly boxed up the signed books and sent them to the tongxin.com headquarters. He finally arrived at a little after 9 in the evening. Chen Sinan was still waiting inside the company and had not gone home. Boxes of books were quickly delivered to the company warehouse. Chen Sinan took out one of the books. Ha! Seeing Lin Chen's signature, Chen Sinan's eyes lit up. He felt that Lin Chen's signature was even better than the second batch. And this kind of improvement was obvious. The second batch was better than the first, but ordinary people could not feel the difference. This time, ordinary people could also feel the difference, and the difference was very obvious. Is it because of the pen? Chen Xinuan thought to himself. For the first and second batches, Lin Chen used a regular signature pen, but for this batch, Lin Chen used a fountain pen. Soon, Chen Xinuan looked at a few other books. The signatures in this batch were all the same and of a higher level. Master Jiang, I would like to visit you tomorrow. Lin Yu's book has arrived, and I would like you to appraise his signature. Is that okay with you? Chen Xinuan sent a message to Zhang Xuesong. Send me a photo to take a look. Soon, Chen Xinuan received a reply. Okay. Chen Xinuan quickly took a photo and sent it to Zhang Xuesong. Zhang Xuesong put on his reading glasses. He was stunned when he saw the photo Chen Xinuan sent. This. Zhang Xuesong was overwhelmed. He judged that Lin Chen's calligraphy had improved again. Lin Chen's calligraphy had reached an unbelievable level. Chen, can I send it to others for discussion? Zhang Xuesong sent a message asking. Of course. Zhang Xuesong sent it to a small group. There were only 10 or so people in this small group, but each of them had extraordinary calligraphy attainments. They had all read the Orchid Pavilion preface together at Zhang Xuesong's place last time. This is Master Lin Yu's new signature. What are your impressions? Zhang Xuesong tagged everyone. Some of the 10 or so people in the group had not yet gone to bed. Is it just me, or does this character seem even more awesome than the calligraphy of the Wang family's calligraphy sage? A master surnamed Wang spoke in the group. Wang, you should be ashamed of yourself, what's with the Wang family? This character has an indescribable charm, if only it weren't a photo. I feel as if I've entered a forest, with birds singing in the trees. Brother Jiang, this is truly a superb character. Zhang Xuesong, I thought I was wrong. This is just a photo, the feeling should be more obvious in the real thing. He quickly called Chen Xinheng. Xiao Chen, can you come now, please? Chen Xinheng looked at the time, it was 9:30. It wasn't early, but Zhang Xuesong wanted to see it, so of course he was willing to deliver it. I'll leave right away. An hour or so later, Chen Xinhan arrived at Zhang's house. Mr. Jiang, I'm sorry to disturb you so late. Zhang Xuesong waved his hand, I'm sorry to make you make this trip so late. Where is Master Lin Yu's book? Chen Xinhan took out the book. Zhang Xuesong did not immediately flip through the book. He let himself calm down first, and then slowly opened the book. Looking at Lin Chen's signature, Zhang Xuesong's eyes gradually became unfocused. It was as if he had entered the forest. There was the sound of birdsong in the forest. The trees in the forest also seemed to be whispering. The two characters Lin Yu seem to have come to life. Calligraphy can actually reach such a state. It's really inconceivable. Zhang Xuesong muttered. Chen Xinhan couldn't help but ask, Master Jiang, what level has Master Lin Yu's calligraphy reached? Chapter 109. Zhang Xuesong and the others are shocked. Zhang Xuesong gazed at Lin Chen's signature. The top calligraphy masters have basically reached the artistic conception. In the process of writing, they can incorporate their temperament, thoughts, and emotions into it, and pass on culture in spirit. There is no end to learning. Throughout the ages, some top masters believe that there should be another realm above the artistic conception. This realm is referred to in different ways, but the top masters have a relatively unified idea: calligraphy that reaches this realm can make ordinary people also immerse themselves in it. Chen Xinhuan exclaimed in shock, "You mean, Master Lin Yu's calligraphy has reached this realm?" Zhang Xuesong nodded slightly. Even the calligraphy of the saint of calligraphy, Wang Shiji, may seem just so to many ordinary people when they see it. This character is different. You let yourself calm down and then savor it. Chen Xinhuan nodded. He took a deep breath to calm himself down as much as possible. Then he looked carefully at Lin Chen's signature. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. After 7 or 8 seconds, Chen Xinheng felt as if he were in a forest, with the trees whispering. He also seemed to hear birds chirping. Zhang Xuesong did not immediately wake Chen Xinheng up. After being immersed in this state, it took Chen Xinheng a few minutes to wake up. "Master Jiang, this." Chen Xinheng could not believe it. Zhang Xuesong said, "I still have the signed copy of Master Lin Yu you gave me earlier. Compare it to the new one." Zhang Xuesong took out the second book. Chen Xinhuan also stared at the signature intently, but this time, after half a minute had passed, he didn't feel anything. "Master Jiang, although this is a very good handwriting, it seems to lack some vitality compared to the one I just read," Chen Xinhuan concluded. Zhang Xuesong nodded. "That's the difference. This one only achieves the artistic conception, while the new signature has reached a higher realm." Chen Shihan, could it be that Master Lin Yu has made another breakthrough? Zhang Xuesong shook his head. "Impossible. It's very likely that Master Lin Yu is just playing with us. Having reached his level, he can control his own level. The first book didn't achieve the artistic conception, the second book achieved it, and the third book surpassed it. How could he improve so quickly?" Chen Shihan nodded. Indeed, the 3 books were published not long after each other. Zhang Xuesong stared at Chen Xinhuan. "Xinhuan, I want to meet Master Lin Yu. Can you help me get in touch?" Chen Xinhuan, "Grandpa Jiang, I can help you get in touch, but I don't know if Master Lin Yu will agree to see you. I don't have that kind of face." Zhang Xuesong nodded. "You can get in touch tomorrow. It's late, don't disturb Master Lin Yu's rest." "This book," Chen Xinhan hurriedly said, "Master Jiang, this is for you. It's not one of the 1,000 signed books." "Thank you." Zhang Xuesong was overjoyed. Chen Xinhan said, "Master Jiang, there's a small problem. Previously, there were 3,000 signed books, but this time there are only 1,000. There are online trolls setting the pace to slander Master Lin Yu, saying that he's become popular and so on." Zhang Xuesong's eyes widened. How dare they? Can they slander a master like Master Lin Yu? This 1,000 copies are worth more than the previous 10,000 copies. The mental energy consumed is likely to be even greater. "Don't worry, I will contact some people to speak up for him." Chen Xinhong was relieved. "Grandpa Jiang, I'll go back first." Chen Xinhong got up and left. Zhang Xuesong went to the study and turned on the computer. He was old, but a character like him could still use a computer. Soon Zhang Xuesong found something. "How dare you!" Zhang Xuesong was furious. There were quite a few people on the internet who were criticizing Lin Chen, and there were also quite a few people in Lin Chen's book review area who were trying to stir up trouble. "How many of you are still awake?" Zhang Xuesong sent a message to the small group that had been talking before. "Yes. I was woken up by Lao Wang's phone call." Soon the rest of the group responded one after the other. It turned out that everyone who had not spoken up before had now responded. "Zhang brother, what's going on?" Zhang Xuesong, there is no precedent, and there may be no successor. Master Lin Yu's calligraphy has reached a state of transcendence. The rest of the group were shocked when they read this. "Are you sure, Jiang? Jiang, is there really such a state of being?" The group quickly exploded. The average age of the group was over 70, but they kept sending messages one after the other. Some people sent voice messages one after the other because they couldn't keep up with the typing. "Zhang Xuesong, I'm sure. I have the book, you can come over tomorrow to appreciate it." Everyone, someone has hired the internet trolls to hack into Master Lin's account. It's a disgrace to our calligraphy community that Master Lin's account has been hacked. You all know what to do, right? Since they couldn't keep up with the typing, Zhang Xiaoxi simply sent a voice message. Understood. Are you mocking our calligraphy community? Everyone quickly got to work. They were all in their 70s and 80s, and normally they practiced calligraphy to cultivate their character and keep their temper even. But at the moment, they were all very angry. Master Lin Yu had reached a level above artistic conception, and was the undisputed leader of the calligraphy world. Even he had been hacked by the Water Army, so what were they, ordinary calligraphy masters, supposed to be? Drip. Zhang Xiaoxi and the others made a series of phone calls. Over the decades, they had built up a lot of contacts. As calligraphy masters, they rarely used these contacts, but just because they didn't use them didn't mean they didn't exist. Many official accounts quickly took action. The Internet Supervision Department quickly confirmed that the hiring of internet trolls did indeed exist. Within an hour, multiple official accounts spoke out overnight. It's over. The guy who hired the internet trolls paled. His company had bought a children's storybook, printed many copies, and originally sold well. Recently, sales had plummeted. He couldn't beat them, so he used this tactic. Knock, knock. The sound of knocking came from the door. The man went to the door with a bitter face. He looked through the peephole and saw 4 handsome men in uniform outside. Lu Chunming, you are suspected of hiring trolls to slander others. Please come with us. Soon the man was taken away. More than one big boss above had said that his case would be treated as a typical example and dealt with severely. In another place, Wu Hao, the head of the trolls who organized this operation, was also arrested. The night passed. Drip. Lin Chen received a call from Chen Xinhuan. President Lin, the problem is solved. Last night I went to see Mr. Jiang. Lu Chunming, the publisher who hired the trolls, and Wu Hao, the troll leader, were arrested by the police overnight. Chen Xinhuan said happily. Without the trolls setting the pace, the situation has stabilized. Editor-in-Chief Chen, don't bother Mr. Jiang that late at night, just sell a little less of the book then. Chen Xinhuan, I was planning to visit this morning, but after seeing the photos, Mr. Jiang asked me to go over there tonight. Boss Lin Yu, Mr. Jiang said that your calligraphy is unparalleled. He wants to meet you. Lin Chen thought for a moment and said, Mr. Jiang is an elder, and he is quite old. I will go visit him if I have the chance. Su Mengyao parents will be back next week. By then, both he and Su Mengyao will have a lot more free time. Chapter 110, Has my husband's calligraphy improved again? 8 a.m., Zhang's house. Ding dong. The doorbell rings, Zhang Xiaoxi's nanny opens the door, and an old man is standing outside. The old man shouts, I'm here, old man Zhang. Zhang Xiaoxi's voice comes from inside, come in yourself. Please. The nanny says respectfully. The man nods and enters Zhang's villa. Zhang Xiaoxi is still eating breakfast. Brother Zhang, why are you here so early? The visitor's name is Zhang Qingyuan. He smiles and says, I flew over last night, but it was too late to disturb you, so I stayed at a nearby hotel. Where are the things? Zhang Xiaoxi, don't worry, let me finish my breakfast first. Okay. There's no rush. Zhang Qingyuan sits down next to him. Brother Jiang, you are very reliable, but I still find it hard to believe. That realm is just an idea that everyone has. How could anyone achieve it? Zhang Xiaoxi sighed, you're right. When I didn't see it, I had the same thoughts, didn't I? Zhang Qingyuan was itching to get started. But he waited patiently for Zhang Xiaoxi to finish eating his breakfast. Ding dong. The doorbell rang again in less than 10 minutes. Someone else was coming over, and this time there were 2 of them. Yang, Su, why are you here too? Zhang Qingyuan said in surprise. The elderly man surnamed Yang, Lao Zhang, when did you arrive? I thought we were the fastest, but I didn't expect you to still be ahead of us. I just got here too. Zhang Qingyuan laughed. Zhang Xiaoxi finished eating breakfast in a hurry, and the 3 old friends stared at him, not letting him catch his breath. Wash your hands first before looking. Zhang Xiaoxi said. He washed his hands carefully first, and the others did the same, out of respect for the top calligraphy. The 4 of them went into the study, where Zhang Xiaoxi took out the book. When you're looking at it, you have to be calm and focused," Zhang Xuesong said. The three nodded, and Zhang Xuesong opened the book. The first page was Lin Chen's signature, and the handwriting was the same as the original. Only that the original was written in a ballpoint pen, while this one was written in a fountain pen. The three of them gathered together and looked at it quietly. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. Soon they were all immersed in it, and it was only after a few minutes that they gradually came to. "I wasn't lying, was I?" Zhang Xuesong asked with a smile. Zhang Qingyuan nodded. "If I can see calligraphy like this in my lifetime, even if I die tomorrow, I will have no regrets. 2 simple characters can have such an effect. Incredible." Yang Laoshu laughed. "Lao Zhang, you really have no regrets about hanging it tomorrow? Don't you want to see more of Master Lin Yu's calligraphy? Don't you want to meet Master Lin Yu in person?" You make me feel bad when you say that." Zhang Qingyuan's eyes showed a look of expectation. "Brother Jiang, you bought a work by Master Lin Yu. Can you meet him? Can you bring us along when you meet?" Zhang Xuesong regretted. "Unfortunately, for that work of mine, Master Lin Yu hid a lot of his strength. But if it's a work of this caliber, I may not be able to afford it." Drip. Just then, Zhang Xuesong's phone rang. It was Chen Xinhong calling. "Xiao Chen, how is it?" Zhang Xuesong quickly answered the phone. Chen Xinhong said on the other end of the phone, "Master Jiang, Master Lin Yu said that you are getting old and that he will come visit you in the future." Zhang Xuesong said, "Chen, that won't do. Although I am old, Master Lin Yu is 2 levels above me, so I should go visit him." Chen Xinhong said worriedly, "Master Jiang, you are getting old, and if something happens to you on the road, don't worry, I'm still quite healthy, and, if I die tomorrow, I'll have lived a fulfilled life at my age." Zhang Xuesong said, "I also have a few old friends who want to meet Master Lin Yu." "Which city is Master Lin Yu in? We can go together and look after each other." "Grandpa Jiang, I need to ask Master Lin Yu what he thinks first," Chen Xinhan said. "Okay, I'll wait for good news from you." After hanging up the phone, Chen Xinhan quickly called Lin Chen. Lin Chen glanced at Lin Xiaoxian next to him. Lin Xiaoxian still had a cold, and it was inconvenient for him to travel far, nor could he travel far with Lin Xiaoxian who had a cold. Editor-in-Chief, if Master Jiang and the others are physically able, they can come whenever they like. Please ask them to come the day after tomorrow. Xiaoqian still hasn't recovered from her cold, Lin Chen said after considering for a moment. Okay. Soon, Chen Xuhan told Zhang Xuesong the situation. Zhang Xuesong and the others were overjoyed. Zhang Qingyuan said, "It's good to meet the day after tomorrow. Let's go to the Magic City together tomorrow to rest, and the day after tomorrow we can meet Master Lin Yu in the best condition." Zhang Xuesong and the others nodded. They were old, and it was hard for them to travel by car or plane. Lin Chen sighed. He finished feeding Lin Xiaoxi the boiled Chinese medicine. Lin Xiaoxi pouted, "Daddy, the medicine is so bitter. I don't want to get sick, and I don't want to take bitter medicine in the future." Lin Chen rubbed Lin Xiaoxi's little head. "If you want to get better at avoiding illness, you need to exercise more. The martial arts I'm teaching you is a kind of exercise. If you practice for a long time, you'll get better at avoiding illness." Lin Xiaoxi, "Dad, let's start practicing then." Recently, Lin Chen has been teaching Lin Xiaoxi for half an hour every day, and he has already gained 2 hours of martial arts experience. He still doesn't have internal strength or a sense of qi, but his control over his body has greatly improved. He is already very good at ordinary boxing and kicking. A few days ago, when he gained half an hour of experience, he was able to fight on an even footing with Tyson at his peak. In the past few days, his physique has increased by another 10 points, and his combat experience has also improved a lot. Even if it is Tyson at his peak, Lin Chen is also absolutely sure that he can knock him down. "Cici, let's get started." Lin Chen quickly began to teach Lin Xiaoxi. This is quite hard work, but Lin Xiaoxi didn't give up. Lin Chen guessed that it was his words about being able to protect his mother in the future that inspired her. In the evening, Su Mengyao finished work. She didn't even take a break at noon, and finished work early today. "President, where are you going?" Liang Yi asked. "Su Mengyao, Ziyuan community, I'm going to see Cici." Liang Yi muttered to herself, just to see her daughter? She had seen the changes in Su Mengyao in the past month or two, and she was happy to see the changes in Su Mengyao. "Okay, President." As the car set off, Su Mengyao took out her phone. She was very busy and didn't have time to check her phone during the day at the company. Hey! Su Mengyao checked Jiang Xueson's Weibo. Jiang Xueson even said that Lin Yu's signature this time was even better than before, reaching an unprecedented height. This time, one autographed book could be worth at least 10 before. Soon Su Mengyao checked another calligraphy master. She followed them. This calligraphy master said that Lin Yu's autograph book this time has a very strong collection value. He collected 30 copies for every 10,000 copies. Those who grabbed it can contact him. What's going on? Su Mengyao was puzzled. She successively swiped the Weibo of several calligraphy masters. Their Weibo was full of praise. Some of their Weibo even revealed humility. Has my husband's calligraphy improved again? Su Mengyao muttered to herself. Chapter 111, improved by 100 million points. Lin Chen. After entering the password to unlock the door, Su Mengyao smelled the aroma of food. Lin Chen was cooking in the kitchen, while Lin Xiaoxi was drawing on the balcony. Su Mengyao changed her shoes and went to the kitchen door. Honey! Su Mengyao called out. It was becoming more and more natural for her to call Lin Chen honey. With a certificate, affection, and a child, there was nothing wrong with calling him that. Lin Chen turned around and smiled in response. Mom! Lin Xiaoxian ran over from the balcony. Dad, I won. Su Mengyao picked up Lin Xiaoxian and asked, Cici, what did you win? Lin Xiaoxian giggled, Dad, and I bet to see if you would come back and look for Dad or me first. I bet you would come back and look for Dad first. I won, hee hee. Su Mengyao. She pinched Lin Xiaoxi's little face and said in a bad mood, You are all so boring, actually betting on this. Besides, are you sure you really won, Cici? Lin Xiaoxi was puzzled, I did win. Mom, you came over to find Dad. Lin Chen laughed, Cici, what Mom means is that she came over to find me first. You won the bet, but she came over to find me first, so you actually lost. Lin Xiaoxi shook her head. Dad, that's not right. As long as Mommy loves Daddy and Daddy loves Mommy, I will always be Mommy and Daddy's little treasure. Lin Chen and Su Mengyao were stunned. They thought Lin Xiaoxi didn't understand, but in fact, what she said was the truth. She is the happiest when her parents love each other. Many adults don't understand this as well as she does. Cici, you won. Lin Chen said with a smile, You and Mommy go wash your hands quickly, I'll stir fry some vegetables and we can eat. Mom, let's go wash our hands. Lin Xiaoxi urged. You little glutton. Su Mengyao said, hugging Lin Xiaoxi as they went to wash their hands. Soon Lin Chen had finished cooking and served the meal, and Lin Xiaoxi was already sitting upright in her high chair. Lin Chen, how do you do it? Why can you make ordinary tofu taste so good? Su Mengyao asked, puzzled. Lin Chen laughed and said, the tofu is ordinary tofu, but the soup isn't. Some foods and flavors can interfere with each other, while others can enhance each other. It's crucial to know how to strike the right balance. In a sense, you actually know a little about this. Su Mengyao's eyes lit up. I know what? Lin Chen, you know how to add oil and salt, but you don't do it very well. Sometimes there's too much, and sometimes there's not enough. Su Mengyao. She gave Lin Chen a look of gratitude. Lin Chen laughed and said, the principle is actually the same. Oil and salt can season food, and so can other things. It depends on whether you know how to use them. Lin Xiaoxi glanced at Su Mengyao and said, Mom, don't be self-deprecating. Su Mengyao. Dad says that everyone is good at different things. Fish are good at swimming, birds are good at flying, monkeys are good at climbing trees, and little ants are all strong. Lin Xiaoxi said in a babyish voice. Su Mengyao asked, Cici, you're good at drawing, so what's Mommy good at? Lin Xiaoxi looked at Su Mengyao and pondered. If you have to think about it for so long, doesn't Mommy have any talents? Su Mengyao was a little sad. Lin Xiaoxi's eyes suddenly lit up. Mommy, you're good at finding a husband, and Daddy is the best. Su Mengyao. Goodness, she called him goodness. Lin Chen smiled. Cici, Mommy is good at a lot of things too. I'm good at making money in business. And I'm not a bad pianist, am I? Lin Xiaoxian was puzzled. Dad, aren't the best at something the best at everything? Mom is the best at everything. Su Mengyao picked up a piece of meat for Lin Xiaoxian and said with a smile, Eat up, Xiaoxian. You can't say less. Lin Chen said with a smile, Xiaoxian, I support you. Mengyao, do you have time the day after tomorrow, Saturday? Su Mengyao was puzzled. I think so, why? Lin Chen, Master Jiang and the others want to meet me. They plan to come to Shanghai, but I was going to visit him later. They can't wait and want to come over. If you have time, you have to take Shishi with you the day after tomorrow. Su Mengyao, you plan to meet Master Jiang and the others outside? Lin Chen nodded. There are a lot of them, and if they come to my place, I'm afraid there won't be anywhere for them to sit. I'll find a place outside. Su Mengyao shook her head. You don't need to look. Your place is small and not big enough to accommodate them, but my place is huge. They have come a long way, so it's not very nice to entertain them outside. Lin Chen, is it suitable to go to your place? What's not suitable about it? Su Mengyao asked in return. It's very difficult to find a place outside that is as good as yours. Lin Chen thought for a moment and said, if we stay at your place, then tomorrow Sisai and I will have to stay there, and early the next morning I will have to go to the nearby market to buy some more food. My cooking skills will be on display in the future. When Jiang Lao and the others arrive at our home, it would be a bit unreasonable for me not to cook. Su Mengyao nodded. Lin Xiaoxi's eyes lit up and she said, Mom, Dad and I will pick you up from work and then we'll go home together. Who are you? Su Mengyao asked with a puzzled expression. Lin Xiaoxi said, I'm your favorite baby. Really? Su Mengyao snorted. Yes, Mom, I'll kiss you. Su Mengyao leaned her head close, and Lin Xiaoxian kissed her several times. Mom, do you remember now? If you don't, I'll let Dad kiss you too. That way you'll definitely remember. Su Mengyao. She said in a bad mood, I remember now. Lin Chen, has your calligraphy improved again? Su Mengyao looked at Lin Chen and asked doubtfully, Jiang Lao and the others have been tweeting that your calligraphy has gotten even better. It's improved by 1 billion points. Lin Chen smiled. Wait a second. Lin Chen got up and went to the study to get the book he was going to give Su Mengyao. Wife, this is the first signed book in this batch. Su Mengyao took the book and opened it. For my wife. Hold your hand and grow old with you. Lin Chen. Seeing the words written by Lin Chen on the cover, Su Mengyao froze for a moment, and her pretty face turned red at a speed visible to the naked eye. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. Su Mengyao looked carefully, and a series of images emerged in her mind. She and Lin Chen gradually grew old, but they walked hand in hand every day, happily. Finally, Su Mengyao saw their hair turning white. The two of them strolled hand in hand in the sunset. Who? Su Mengyao let out a breath. Mom, what just happened to you? Lin Xiaoxi looked at Su Mengyao with concern and asked. Su Mengyao had been staring blankly at the book for 4 or 5 minutes. Su Mengyao shook her head. Mom is fine, I was just engrossed in the book. Su Mengyao's beautiful eyes looked at Lin Chen. There was affection in her eyes. Hubby, thank you for the book, I really like it. Lin Xiaoxi, Mom, then you have to say, hubby, I love you. Chapter 112, There is only one truth. Su Mengyao blushed and said, why should I say it? Lin Xiaoxi said, Mom, if you give me a gift, I will say, Mom, I love you. Dad gave you a gift. Su Mengyao pouted, the last time Mom gave Dad a gift, why didn't you say that to Dad? Cici, you're being biased. Lin Xiaoxi said, oh, Mom, I forgot before. Dad, then you tell Mom, wife, I love you. I love you, wife. Lin Chen said with a smile. Lin Xiaoxi looked at Su Mengyao and said, Mom, it's your turn. Su Mengyao. Mom, don't be a bad sport, it's the puppy that's being a bad sport. Lin Xiaoxi said with a wink. Lin Chen looked at Su Mengyao with a smile. I love you, husband. Su Mengyao said bashfully, there was a difference between just calling someone husband and saying I love you. As soon as the words came out, Su Mengyao felt her heart beat faster. He. Mom, you're awesome. Lin Xiaoxian smiled sweetly. Su Mengyao gave Lin Xiaoxian a wide-eyed glance. What was so awesome about it? Was she being tricked by herself? Cici, you should eat quickly, the food is getting cold. Su Mengyao changed the subject. After the three of them finished eating, Lin Chen smiled and said, Cici, take your mom to the balcony so she can see your handwriting. Lin Xiaoxi nodded. Su Mengyao and Lin Xiaoxi went out onto the balcony. Lin Xiaoxi sat down at her little table, while Su Mengyao sat on a futon that Lin Chen had bought. Mommy, watch. Lin Xiaoxi said, taking a pencil and writing. Mommy, I love you. Lin Xiaoxi wrote. Su Mengyao looked at Lin Xiaoxi's writing in amazement. These 5 words were surprisingly well written. Compared to the previous few days, Lin Xiaoxi's writing had obviously improved. Sisai, why has your handwriting improved so much? Su Mengyao asked in surprise. Lin Xiaoxi said in a babyish voice, Dad taught me. The more Dad taught me, the better I wrote. Mom, I love writing even more. But what I love most is still drawing. Su Mengyao wondered in her heart, could it be that Lin Chen's talent had improved and he was teaching better, and Lin Xiaoxi was learning faster? Apart from that, she really couldn't think of any other reason. Little did she know that Lin Chen's improved talent had boosted Lin Xiaoxi's talent in calligraphy. Lin Chen quickly finished washing the dishes and came over. Lin Chen, Xiaoxi's writing has improved. Su Mengyao said in surprise as she looked at Lin Chen. Lin Chen laughed and said, her talent in calligraphy is okay, but she's still young, so she can learn it casually for now. When she was little, it was more interesting for her to learn it. Cici, stop writing. It's getting cooler outside as the sun sets, let's go for a walk. Soon Lin Chen and the others took Lin Xiaoxi out of the house. Su Mengyao said, Lin Chen, when I looked at the book you gave me, a strange phenomenon occurred, and I suddenly seemed to see us. Su Mengyao paused here. Lin Xiaoxian asked, Mom, what did you see? I'm not telling. Soon they arrived downstairs, and Lin Xiaoxian came down by herself and walked in front looking for her daughters. Lin Chen, I saw some images. It seems that we really did grow old slowly holding hands. What's going on? Su Mengyao asked in puzzlement. Lin Chen said, you were lost in thought for 4 or 5 minutes. Huh? Su Mengyao couldn't believe it. She thought only a little time had passed. Lin Chen smiled, my calligraphy level has improved by a few million points. Why do you think Jiang Lao and the others wanted to come? Su Mengyao said, I don't think Wang Shiji's calligraphy would be like this. I've seen Wang Shiji's authentic works. Lin Chen said, so there is only one truth. Su Mengyao looked at Lin Chen in disbelief, her husband's level of calligraphy surpassing the saint of calligraphy Wang Shiji? Lin Chen reached out and took Su Mengyao's hand. Honey, don't think about it so much. It's just a small skill. I'll surprise you more often in the future. Calligraphy is relatively easy to improve. He also has aircraft manufacturing skills, as well as secret Tai Chi methods. This is no small skill. This is something that many people can only hope for in their lifetime. Su Mengyao whispered. Not to mention surpassing Wang Shiji, even if he can get close, he can also leave a name in history. Su Mengyao is a little numb now, her husband is really too demon-like. Hubby, you're right to be low-key. You're too demon-like, I'm really afraid something will happen to you in the future. Su Mengyao's eyes revealed a worried expression. In the past, she felt that Lin Chen was a bit too cautious, and now she thinks Lin Chen should be even more cautious. Don't worry, I know what I'm doing. Lin Chen said with a smile. Su Mengyao nodded, looking ahead, Cici, you slow down. Mom, I see Kiki. Lin Xiaoxi said as she ran, her running posture having changed somewhat compared to before. Occasionally, Lin Chen would teach her how to run on the grass. This experience would improve her flying on the grass with light skills, which was an important skill for him. Once he has internal strength, and with this, his speed and agility will increase considerably, and if he encounters gunfire, the chances of survival will greatly increase. Somewhere, a mother opened a package delivered by express delivery. Inside the package were 2 fairy tales she had bought. The 2 books were the same. Most people might be satisfied with one, but her son was quite naughty, and one book might break at any time. It wasn't expensive anyway. She was a fan of Lin Yu, so she wanted to support him with an extra book. Both books are well laminated, so they can be returned if unopened. If the lamination is removed, they cannot be returned for any reason other than quality issues. This is an important note before purchasing. If the lamination needs to be removed, the books can also be returned within 7 days. However, it should be noted that if the books are received after this, they will definitely not be signed. I don't know if I've won a signed book. This mother thought to herself. She quickly returned home and opened the express delivery. The lamination was intact, so she could not tell if the books were signed without opening them. She opened one of the books. No luck. When she opened the second book, her eyes lit up. Inside the second book was Lin Yu's autograph. Wow! Honey, I won! The mother exclaimed joyfully. Her husband walked out of the study. Won what? Don't believe all that nonsense. I got Lin Yu's autograph book. More than one person on the internet offered 10,000 yuan for it. The mother of two said, holding up the book in her hands. Her husband's eyes lit up. Let me see. I read on the internet that Mr. Jiang said the autograph was different this time. Here. Don't break it, it's worth 10,000 yuan. The mother of two handed the book to her husband. Her husband loved calligraphy and was also a Lin Yu fan. Soon, her husband opened the book. 1 minute, 2 minutes. The mother of two nudged her husband and said doubtfully, Honey, what's taking so long? Her husband came back to his senses and said in shock, This book cannot be sold. I think it is worth more than 10,000. Honey, are you okay? It's pretty good to sell an autographed book for 10,000. It seems that the previous autographed books only sold for 2,000 to 3,000 at most. The man shook his head and said, The autographs on this one are different. You should really take a good look at these two characters. A few minutes later, the woman said in disbelief, Honey, what's going on? I feel like I've entered the forest. I can hear the forest talking and birds chirping. The man said, I feel the same way. No wonder Jiang Lao and the others said that 1,000 copies were a lot. If this autographed book sold for 10,000, absolutely a lot of people would buy it. The Lin Yu boss has given away at least 10 million. I don't think his royalties are even that much. The woman closed the book. Honey, this is my prize, I'm not selling it, and you can't sell mine either. The man said impatiently, Don't worry, I'm even more reluctant to sell it than you are. I even want to buy another one. Do you have money? Heir? The man's eyes flickered. No, I don't have any secret money. The woman smiled. I didn't say you were secret money. The man. Brothers and sisters, if you like it, please give it a 5-star rating, thank you. Chapter 113, Which professor are you? The books were delivered one after the other, and more readers were getting their books signed. I received a signed book. Lin Yu's autograph has magic powers. When I stared at it, it was as if I could see the forest and hear the birds chirping. Who knows what's going on? My friend received a signed book, and the effect was the same. Lin Yu's autograph is amazing. I was in a bad mood, but after staring at it for a while, I felt my whole body and mind relax. Many comments appeared on the internet. One person got a signed book, and his family and friends were likely to see Lin Chen's signature. Jiang Lao, what's going on? Jiang Lao, you are a professional, please explain. Jiang Lao. Many people went to Jiang Xuesong's Weibo to ask. Jiang Xuesong saw these comments. But he didn't say anything more. He knew that Lin Chen's calligraphy surpassed that of Wang Shiji, but saying something like that would easily attract bad attention to Lin Chen, and Wang Shiji's historical status as the saint of calligraphy was there for all to see. Everyone, please be careful. Jiang Xuesong saw off a dozen people, who were staying at a nearby hotel and would all go to the city together tomorrow. See you tomorrow, Jiang. The group said as they left together. Gradually, it got late at night, and Su Mengyao still hadn't fallen asleep. She read a lot of news about Lin Yu. There were all kinds of discussions online. Some people speculated that Lin Yu's calligraphy had reached a level unprecedented in history. No, I have to go to bed. I have to go to the office early tomorrow, so I can get off work early. Su Mengyao thought to herself. She got up quietly to go get a drink. When she got outside her room, Su Mengyao noticed that there was light in the study. She knocked gently on the door and then pushed it open. Lin Chen was actually reading at this late hour. In his study there was a large bookshelf. Originally the bookshelf was quite empty, but now it was stuffed full. 99% of these books were about aircraft manufacturing. Aircraft are made up of countless parts, and these books were also all-encompassing. Lin Chen, why aren't you asleep yet? Su Mengyao asked. Lin Chen looked at Su Mengyao and smiled. Wife, these books you had someone find are really good. Reading these books has allowed me to learn a lot. He had only acquired some of the aircraft manufacturing technology, but now, by reading these books, he could make considerable progress. Su Mengyao, it's so late, what are you still reading? Do you really want to build an airplane? Lin Chen laughed, just satisfying my curiosity. I have plenty of energy, and I only need to sleep 4 or 5 hours a day. Go to sleep. Later, I'll go check to see if Cece has covered herself up. Su Mengyao said with some embarrassment, "It was me who didn't take care of her last time, causing her to suffer and you to be bothered." Lin Xian shook his head, "Don't say that. No parent is a Superman, how can they take care of everything? A cold is just too common for children. You go to sleep, I'll read for a while longer." Su Mengyao nodded, "Good night, honey." "Good night, wife," Lin Xian said with a smile. Su Mengyao blushed slightly and left the study. Lin Xian is so talented, but he still works so hard. Su Mengyao thought to herself. Her impression of Lin Xian had silently increased a little more. Inside the study, Lin Xian continued reading. If he didn't normally read books on this subject, it would be strange for others not to doubt him if he suddenly said that he knew about it. He was reading to satisfy his own intellectual curiosity on the one hand, and to shut other people up in the future on the other. Ha! Lin Xian's brows furrowed slightly. He has already gained a lot of knowledge, and the knowledge given by the system is undoubtedly correct. The knowledge he has gained conflicts with what he sees in this book. Lin Xian took out a piece of paper and a pen and started to do some calculations in silence. After 10 minutes, he was sure that the book was wrong. "Professor Dai, this book is still pretty good. In the future, find his contact information and give him a reminder." Lin Xian muttered to himself. He continued to read on. It is normal for a book to have one or two mistakes. Just because he found one mistake, it doesn't mean that the book should be rejected. At 1 or 2 in the morning, Su Mengyao had already fallen asleep. Lin Xian slowly opened the door to the master bedroom. Lin Xiaoxi slept pretty well, covered with a quilt, but Su Mengyao's long, snow-white legs were exposed. The bedroom was dark, but with the help of the hallway light, Lin Xian's current eyesight was good enough to see clearly. Lin Xian looked at her for a few seconds. Then he silently covered Su Mengyao up. The next day, Lin Xian got up early. Not long after, Su Mengyao also came out of the bedroom. "Mengyao, you're up so early? I'm going to make you guys some handmade noodles, but the noodles haven't woken up yet," Lin Xian said in surprise. Su Mengyao said, "You and Shishi are going to pick me up from work tonight, and there's a lot of company business to go to early. I'll just grab a bite of the 2 slices of bread in the car." "No. You go wash up and put on makeup, and I'll make you some handmade noodles," Lin Xian said. Su Mengyao nodded. By the time she finished getting ready, the hot noodles were already on the table. The hand-pulled noodles were not as delicious as the ones Lin Xian made himself, but they were much better than the ones Su Mengyao ate outside. "Did Cici kick the covers last night?" Su Mengyao asked while eating. Lin Xian smiled and said, "Cici didn't, but you did. Honey, you have very nice legs, they're long and white." Su Mengyao. Her pretty face quickly turned red. "Who told you to look around?" "I didn't look around, I looked at her normally." "Looking at your wife, is that illegal?" Su Mengyao gave Lin Xian a wide-eyed glance. "It seems that in the future, I have to lock the door when I sleep." Lin Xian touched his chin and said, "Mengyao, in that case, I have to consider learning how to pick locks. I don't know how long it will take me to learn with my learning ability." Su Mengyao. "I won't lock it, okay? You'd better not learn it. You're so good at calligraphy, don't let history record that you also know how to pick locks." Lin Xian looked at Su Mengyao with a smile. "Mengyao, don't worry, I'm only looking at it, I'm not going to try it." Su Mengyao. She finished eating quickly and left the house. Lin Xian went to the study, turned on the computer, and found Professor Dai's contact information, which was an email address. "Professor Dai, your book." Lin Xian sent an email to Professor Dai. After sending it, he ignored it. He still had to make breakfast for Lin Xiaoxi. In a top university in the capital, Dai Guorong got up. He was old, and old people generally got up early. He brewed a pot of tea and sat down at the computer. He was a university professor, but he taught PhD students, not undergraduates. Ha! He turned on the computer and logged into his work email. Dai Guorong saw that someone had sent him an email. It was still pointing out an error in his book. He downloaded the attachment and carefully calculated the answer. An hour later, Dai Guorong looked a little embarrassed. He was right. The mistake wasn't particularly big, but it wasn't small either. "Thanks for pointing it out. May I ask which professor you are?" Dai Guorong sent an email back to Lin Xian. This mistake is not something that just anyone can find. Chapter 114, The Fake Marriage News is Exposed. TongXIN.com Chen Xinhong didn't arrive until almost 9:30. He was busy until late last night and got up late today. Everyone, quickly compile the data and give it to me, Chen Xinhong ordered. 10 minutes later, a few editors arrived at his office. Editor-in-Chief, the sales of Lin Yu's third children's book have already exceeded 700,000, and they are still rising. Editor-in-Chief, website traffic has increased by 38.5% compared to normal. Editor-in-Chief, Lin Yudaxian's autographed books have sold for up to 80,000 yuan each, and hundreds of copies have been sold. The group reported back one after the other. Chen Xinhong was shocked and said, "Sales have reached 700,000? Won't that be sold out by this afternoon?" "Yes, Editor-in-Chief." Chen Xinhong felt numb. The pre-sale was hot, and he knew it would sell well, but he thought it should be fine to last for 5 or 6 days. Who would have thought it wouldn't last 2 days? Because of the signed books? Chen Xinhong asked. Another editor said, "That's for sure." The highest price for a signed book reached 80,000, 30 yuan for one book, so 1,000 books is only 30,000 yuan. The chance of getting a signed book is 1 in 1,000. Lin Yu's books are of good quality, so there's no problem if you don't resell them. Chen Xinhong said sternly, "Send out an announcement immediately, telling buyers that the chance of getting a signed book will be reduced. Please buy rationally. Also, limit the number of books each person can buy to a maximum of 10. Tongxin's announcement was quickly sent out. Restrictions on purchases were also arranged. Damn, how come I can only buy a maximum of 10? The chance of getting an autographed book has actually decreased. Luckily, I successfully placed an order last night, haha. Many people online were discussing this. The fact that autographed books could sell for up to 80,000 yuan shocked many people, and a simple calculation showed that this was a very cost-effective deal. If you buy a few thousand books, you'll make a profit if you win just one. Drip drip. Lin Chen's phone rang. The call was from Chen Xinhong, and Lin Chen answered the phone and asked, "Editor-in-Chief, what's up?" Chen Xinhong took a deep breath and said, "Lin Yu boss, have you seen the news? There's a lot of news about your new book online." He changed the way he addressed him back to the original. Calling Lin Yu boss felt better than calling him boss Lin. Lin Chen was puzzled. "Is there a problem? I haven't looked at it. I don't usually check my phone when I'm with Shishi." Chen Xinhong, your new book is selling really fast. The highest price for your signed book was 80,000 half an hour ago, and the latest news is that the highest price has gone up to 90,000. Lin Chen was very surprised. The highest is 90,000? They're crazy, it's just a signed book. Chen Xinhong said, "There are too many people who want to buy your signed book, and there are too many rich people in this society. Your signed book has more class than a luxury bag. So you're calling because..." Chen Xinhong, we have lowered the chance of getting an autographed book, and each user can purchase a maximum of 10 books. I'm not involved in the operation, so you guys can do whatever you want. Lin Chen said. Chen Xinhong, big brother Lin Yu, even so, this 1 million books won't last long. I just asked the boss, and we'll buy another 1 million books. Okay, just send the electronic contract. It didn't take long for Lin Chen to sign the contract. Ding. Less than half an hour later, TongXIN.com transferred 6 million royalties to his account, and together with the original 7 million, he had 13 million in his bank card. United States. Su Guofeng read the news about this. The sales are actually so hot, and an autographed book can actually sell for nearly 100,000 yuan. Su Guofeng was amazed. "Mengyao, do you have Lin Chen's autographed book?" Su Guofeng sent a message to Su Mengyao. Su Mengyao had just finished a meeting and had a little time. "Yes." Su Mengyao replied. "Su Guofeng, I'll give it to your father when it arrives." "You can ask Lin Chen for another autographed book then." "No." Su Guofeng. "It's just an autographed book, and you're not willing to give it up?" Su Guofeng snapped back. Su Mengyao had taken a photo of her autographed book and sent it to Su Guofeng. "Hold hands with you, grow old with you." Su Guofeng looked at the photo and gradually sank into it. It was as if he could see himself and his wife holding hands and walking step by step. In the end, the two were gray-haired, but they were still not separated. The two held hands as the sunset shone on them. Who? After a while, Su Guofeng woke up. He looked at the photo on his phone in shock. The mere signature of Lin Chen had no effect when viewed online, but he never imagined that just looking at the photo would have such a miraculous effect. Dad, I can't give you this book. In the future, you can ask Lin Chen to give you a copy yourself. Su Guofeng saw the messages that Su Mengyao had sent. These 2 messages had been sent a while ago, but just now he had been caught up in something and hadn't seen them right away. Mengyao, you ask for it for me, how can I be so rude as to take it? Su Guofeng replied in a message. Su Mengyao, Dad, you're embarrassed, but I'm not? Dad, you can ask Cici to help you. Su Guofeng's eyes lit up. It's a good idea to ask Shishi. In the evening, Lin Chen drove to Su Mengyao's company. Ha! Lin Chen keenly noticed that other people looked at him with a bit of a strange gaze. Lin Chen and Lin Xiaoxi arrived at Su Mengyao's office. Su Mengyao was not there at the moment. Shishi, play with the toys for a while. Mommy still has things to do, we have to wait for Mommy. Lin Shen said with a smile. Lin Xiaoqian ran to the toy area Su Mengyao had prepared for her. Lin Shen thought about it and sent a message to Su Dong. He was the captain of the basketball team before, and Su Dong was the vice captain. He received a 1 million prize, of which 800,000 was donated, and the other 200,000 was divided among Su Dong and the others. His relationship with Su Dong and the others was still good. Su Dong, I'm here at the company with Xiaoqian. I feel that some people are looking at me with strange eyes. Do you know anything about it? Su Dong quickly saw the message. Captain, is it convenient to answer the phone? Yes. Su Dong quickly called back, Captain, there is a rumor in the company that you and the president are in a fake marriage, and you got married just for Shishi. It says that you took the money to cooperate in the act. Lin Chen instantly thought of Zhao Tianyou. It was very likely that Zhao Tianyou spread this rumor. When did it spread? Where is the source? Lin Chen asked. Su Dong said, it started circulating today. I don't know the source, I just heard someone talking about it. Captain, I think you and the CEO are a good match. Lin Chen, I'll invite you to the wedding banquet in the future. After saying that, Lin Chen hung up the phone. The door opened at this time, and Su Mengyao walked in. Mom! Lin Xiaoxi joyfully ran towards Su Mengyao. Su Mengyao picked up Lin Xiaoxi and kissed her. She looked at Lin Chen and said, Honey, how long have you and Xiaoxi been waiting? A little while. Lin Chen smiled, Xiaoxi, go play for a while. Daddy has something to tell Mommy, it's not appropriate for you to hear. Lin Xiaoxi blinked her eyes, Daddy, are you going to kiss Mommy? I'll close my eyes and not look. After saying that, Lin Xiaoxi covered her eyes with her small hands. Only her fingers were open. You could see her eyes were open through the gaps. Chapter 115, I'm going to kiss Mommy. Lin Chen asked deliberately, Cici, can you see? Dad, I can't see. Lin Xiaoqian said, her eyes wide open. Then I'm going to kiss Mommy, boo. Lin Chen leaned in and made a noise with his mouth. Lin Xiaoxi suddenly let go of her hand, Dad, you're lying, you didn't kiss Mommy just now. Lin Chen, then which eye did you see it with? I. Lin Xiaoxi froze. Su Mengyao burst out laughing, Daddy's just teasing you. Go play for now, Mommy and Daddy have some business. After saying this, Su Mengyao let Lin Xiaoxi down. Lin Chen walked towards the lounge of the CEO's office, and Su Mengyao followed him in. Lin Chen gestured for her to close the door. What's wrong? Su Mengyao asked curiously. Lin Chen's brows were knitted together in worry. Some people in the company looked at me with a bit of a strange expression. I asked Su Dong about it, and he said that someone had leaked the news that we were getting married for the sake of Xiaoxi. I don't know who specifically leaked it. Su Mengyao's face fell. This exposure will have a relatively small impact on them, but if Lin Xiaoqian hears such news, will it have a greater impact on Lin Xiaoqian's physical and mental health? Su Mengyao, you suspect that Zhao Tianyou leaked it? Lin Chen nodded slightly. I do suspect him. But if you are angry about exposing this, it may not be a good thing for him or the Zhao family. The chances of him winning you over will be even lower. Su Mengyao, the chances of him getting me are not going to decrease. The chances were 0 to begin with, so how can they go negative? But if he did expose it, it would definitely affect him and the Zhao family, and they would have to bear the brunt of my anger. Lin Chen pondered, he might not have thought of this, but his father definitely could. If it really was him who exposed it, the Zhao family might have sought outside help. Su Mengyao's expression was grave. It is indeed possible that they deliberately messed with the company. Lin Chen, Mangyao, I most suspect the Zhao family, but sometimes the person most suspected may not be the one causing trouble. It could be someone else trying to profit from the situation. Su Mangyao nodded. Don't worry, I won't lose my head. But I'm a little worried about what Shishi will hear about this in the future. Lin Chen smiled slightly. Shishi, don't worry. We started out with a fake marriage, but now our feelings are real, and Shishi should be able to feel that too. Su Mangyao blushed slightly. She nodded slightly. Let's go home. The two of them went out. Lin Chen picked up Lin Xiaoxi, and Su Mangyao walked next to Lin Chen, and the two of them left chatting and laughing. Do you think that rumor is true? President Lin and Lin Ge seem very sweet together, but if they are really married, why didn't they have a wedding? Love after marriage, the president's wife falling for a loser like me? Some people whispered about it. Ordinary gossip in the company spreads quickly, not to mention the gossip about the goddess president Su Mangyao. It was already past 6 when I got home. Su Mangyao's nanny had already prepared the meal. The nanny did not eat with Lin Chen and the others, and there were only the three of them in the large dining room. Husband, would you like some wine? You didn't finish the bottle of wine you drank last time. Su Mangyao asked. Lin Chen nodded, and a drink would be fine. Su Mangyao quickly fetched the wine, and she also got herself a bottle of red wine, as if she was prepared to drink with Lin Chen. Dad, this dish isn't delicious. Lin Xiaoxi said with a mouthful of food. Lin Chen patted Lin Xiaoxi's little head and said, You can't be a picky eater. If you are, I won't cook anymore, and we'll always eat like this. Daddy, I'm not a picky eater. Lin Xiaoxian said, and quickly took another bite. Su Mangyao looked at Lin Xiaoxian with a smile. In the past, Lin Xiaoxian was a picky eater, and she was at her wit's end. She couldn't scold her, and if she tried to reason with her, she would still be a picky eater. With Lin Chen, Lin Xiaoxian was completely in his hands. Honey, cheers. Su Mangyao raised her glass. Cheers. In the blink of an eye, it was the next day. Lin Chen went to a nearby high-end market, where the prices were much higher but the quality was also much better. A total of 11 people came, including themselves, and there were quite a few people having lunch. Fortunately, Su Mangyao's large villa had 2 dining rooms, and the other dining room, which was suitable for banquets, had large round tables. There was no problem seating 14 people. An hour later, Lin Chen returned with the food. Only Su Mangyao and Lin Xiaoxi were left in the villa, and Su Mangyao had given the 4 nannies another day off. It is not convenient for the nannies to be here when Zhang Xuesong and the others arrive. Lin Chen and Lin Yu's identities are now kept secret. Dad, there are so many dishes. Is there a lot of delicious food today? Lin Xiaoxi ran over, skipping and jumping. Lin Chen laughed, yes. You were very good at dinner last night and didn't picky eat, so today we're having a big meal. There are a lot of guests coming today, Xiaoxi, do you know what to do? Lin Xiaoxian nodded, I am the young master, I need to be polite and take care of the guests. Dad, is that right? Yes. Lin Chen carried the ingredients into the kitchen. Su Mangyao asked, Lin Chen, do you need any help? Lin Chen looked at her with a smile, Mangyao, if you help, you'll only make things worse, won't you? Take Xiaoqian out to play for a while, she must miss her friends. Zhang Lao and the others aren't due here for a while. Su Mangyao nodded. She took Lin Xiaoxi out, and Lin Chen quickly prepared the ingredients, some of which needed to be prepared in advance. An hour passed. Drip. Zhang Xuesong called. Master Lin Yu, we're here. We'll be at the entrance of the community in a few minutes. We have a total of 11 people in 3 cars. Lin Chen smiled slightly, Zhang Lao, we've spoken to the doorman. If you say you're coming to us, the doorman will let you in. Just follow the signs when you come in. Okay. Zhang Xuesong hung up the phone. He was sitting in the passenger seat, and the one driving was a younger master of calligraphy, but he was also in his 60s. Brother Jiang, what age is Master Lin Yu? We're almost there, so you can stop keeping it a secret, right? The younger master driving asked. Zhang Xuesong knew that Lin Chen was only in his 20s, but the rest of the people didn't know. In their opinion, with Lin Yu's level of skill, he was at least 50 years old. You can see for yourselves later. Zhang Xuesong said, I've never met him either, I just heard Chen mention his age. Shen, what are you still asking, we'll be there soon anyway. Said one of the 2 elderly people sitting in the back row. Shen nodded. Soon, the three of them arrived at the entrance to the residential area. After reporting the villa number, they successfully drove into the residential area. Honey, do you think I should take Cece aside for a while? Su Mengyao asked. She had returned with Lin Xiaoxi. Lin Chen shook his head, no need. Xiaoxi is very well behaved. She shouldn't make a fuss while we talk. Xiaoxi, is that right? Lin Xiaoxi nodded her little head, mommy, I'm a good girl, and I'm still the young master. Chapter 116, a group of masters arrive at the door. Su Mengyao picked up Lin Xiaoxi. Cece, let's go out with Dad to greet our guests. Soon Lin Chen and the others arrived outside the villa. Zhang Xuesong and the others arrived. Su Mengyao's villa was thousands of square meters, and the garage could park several cars. There was no problem parking 10 more cars in the open space outside. In the car leading the way, Little Shen said, Brother Jiang, are those the son and daughter-in-law of Master Lin Yu? Master Lin Yu's son looks very young. Zhang Xuesong. He knew that the young man who had come to greet them should be Lin Yu. Soon, the 3 cars were parked. Zhang Xuesong and the others opened the doors and got out. Lin Chen smiled and walked up, Zhang Xuesong walking at the front. He took the initiative to reach out and shake Lin Chen's hand. You must be Master Lin Yu, right? I am Zhang Xuesong. The rest of the people behind Zhang Xuesong were stunned. What's going on? Lin Chen hurriedly said, Jiang Lao, you are flattering the young. I am a late learner and I don't deserve such politeness from you. Everyone, my name is Lin Chen, and Lin Yu is my pen name. The group of calligraphy masters who came over, the youngest of whom was in their 60s, were shocked. Master Lin Yu is so young? Have they been living on the wrong side of the bed all these years? Master Lin Yu, hello? The person who had recovered quickly greeted him. Hello, Master Lin Yu. The others also spoke up. Although Lin Chen was very young, they were extremely polite. It was very likely that Lin Chen's calligraphy surpassed that of Wang Shiji, and the wise are the teachers. You are too polite, seniors. Let me introduce you, she is my wife Su Mengyao. This little guy is my daughter Lin Xiaoxi. Lin Chen introduced with a smile. Su Mengyao hugged Lin Xiaoxi and bowed slightly. Hello, seniors, welcome to our home. Lin Xiaoxi looked at this one and then at that one. Dad, how do I greet people? Lin Xiaoxi asked doubtfully. Zhang Xuesong and the others were all older than her grandfather and grandfathers. Zhang Xuesong stroked his beard and laughed. Cece, you can't call us old, you can call me Grandpa Jiang. Grandpa Jiang. Lin Xiaoqian called sweetly. Cece, my surname is Zhang. Grandpa Zhang. Everyone spoke up, and Lin Xiaoqian called them one by one. By the time she was done, 2 minutes had passed. Lin Chen smiled and said, You seniors, it's hot outside, let's go inside and chat. If you get sick from the heat, I can't take the responsibility. Soon everyone was inside the villa. Master Lin Yu, your villa is really big, much bigger than mine. Zhang Xuesong said with a smile as he scanned the villa. Lin Chen said, Jiang Lao, this isn't mine. This is Mengyao's family villa. Mine is small, and there are too many of you, it would be too crowded. Su Mengyao smiled and said, Everyone, you can consider this place my husband's family home, there is no problem at all. Cece, let's give Dad and the others some space, let's go play with the toys first. Lin Xiaoxi nodded. Su Mengyao hugged Lin Xiaoxi and left first, while Zhang Xuesong and the others looked at Lin Chen in disbelief. Someone couldn't help but ask, Are you really the master of Lin Yu? Sorry, I'm not questioning it, I just find it incredible. Lin Chen nodded with a smile. I am. Shall we go to the study? Lin Chen had already prepared paper and pen in the study. Soon, Lin Chen and the others arrived at the study. The Su family's villa was very large, and the study was also large, so even if the 12 of them entered, it would not be very crowded. Inside the study was a large desk. Su Guofeng liked calligraphy and used to practice writing. You are still a little warm, aren't you, seniors? Lin Chen smiled. As he spoke, he picked up the brush. Scenery of the northern country, thousands of miles of ice, 10,000 miles of snow floating. Lin Chen wrote out a line of words. The desk was very large, and Zhang Xuesong and the others could see the words Lin Chen wrote as they surrounded him. Soon they were all immersed in it. It was as if they had traveled through time. It was as if they had traveled from the south to the north, from summer to winter, with freezing temperatures everywhere and snowflakes dancing in the air. Some of them quickly got goosebumps. So cold. Less than 2 minutes later, someone shivered and woke up. The rest of the people were still asleep. This person looked at the rest of the people who were immersed in it in shock. Some people's teeth were chattering from the cold. Lin Xiaoxi coughed lightly. Everyone, wake up. Zhang Xuesong and the others woke up one after the other. They looked at Lin Xiaoxi in shock. Master Lin Yu, your skill is amazing. I thought this kind of calligraphy was only an idea, but I didn't expect that Master Lin Yu could really reach such a level. Master Lin Yu, just now I felt like I was going to die from the cold. Everyone spoke up one after the other. Lin Xiaoxi said, everyone, you can just call me Lin Xiaoxi. I reached such a level by pure luck. His respect for Zhang Xuesong and the others came from the bottom of his heart. Lin Xiaoxi knew that without the system, he would be nothing. Zhang Xuesong and the others had become masters through their own hard work. Master Lin Yu, how could luck have brought you to such a level? Exactly. Let's just call you Master Lin Yu. Everyone spoke up. Lin Xiaoxi said helplessly, you seniors, please change your title. I can't bear it if you keep calling me that. Everyone looked at Zhang Xuesong. Among them, Zhang Xuesong is the oldest and most qualified. Zhang Xuesong smiled and said, let's change it. The pen name Lin Yu is used for his fairy tales, so it's not appropriate for us to call him that. Let's call him Master Lin. That's good. Okay. Everyone said. Lin Xiaoxi. Seniors, even if you call me Master Lin, can you stop using you when you address me? I'm still young. Zhang Xuesong smiled and said, that's fine. Master Lin, what is this realm after the breakthrough? Lin Xiaoxi said, after the breakthrough, I call it context. Works in this realm can have emotions and can be felt by ordinary people. Zhang Xuesong nodded slightly. He sighed, calligraphy can be difficult to appreciate when it reaches a certain level. I didn't expect that continuing to improve can return to the basics, and that ordinary people can also fully appreciate it. Zhang Qingyuan next to him shook his head. Unfortunately, it is very difficult to reach this realm. We are too far away from this realm. Another person smiled and said, Brother Zhang, we are already very fortunate to be able to appreciate it before we die. Master Lin, can we see something else? Lin Xiaoxi nodded with a smile. Jasper is dressed up like a tall tree, with 10,000 green silk ribbons hanging down. Zhang Xuesong and the others looked on and once again immersed themselves in it. Just now, it seemed like they had arrived in winter, and now it seemed like they had arrived in spring. Half an hour passed, and Lin Xiaoxi wrote 2 lines of poetry describing summer and autumn respectively. Zhang Xuesong and the others carefully felt them and were all amazed. My predecessors, we are meeting friends through literature, so it can't just be me writing, you should also write and let everyone appreciate it. Lin Xiaoxi smiled. Zhang Xuesong said, then I will offer my poor work first, and if there are any deficiencies, please Master Lin, you point them out. Chapter 117, My cooking is a little better. Time passed slowly. Lin Xiaoxi exchanged friendly words with Zhang Xuesong and the others one by one. He pointed out the good parts of their calligraphy one by one, and for the bad parts, he just casually mentioned 1 or 2. They were old, so even if he pointed out everything, would they be able to make significant progress? If he mentioned too many shortcomings, they might not be able to handle it. Zhang Xuesong and the others are all masters of calligraphy. If there is a problem with him, even if he is not held responsible, he will definitely feel bad about it psychologically. Old Jiang, you guys continue. I'll go cook. Lin Xiaoxi said with a smile after a round of exchanges. Zhang Xuesong and the others were stunned. Master Lin, you cook? Zhang Qingyuan said in disbelief. In their opinion, Lin Xiaoxi's calligraphy was so good that cooking was not something that should concern him much. His hands are for holding a pen, not a spatula. Lin Xiaoxi, Cici likes the food I cook. Mr. Zhang, pay attention when you see my first piece of calligraphy. Zhang Qingyuan and the others nodded. Lin Xiaoxi went outside the study. He first found Su Mengyao and Lin Xiaoxi. They were in the music room at the moment, with Su Mengyao playing the piano. The sunlight shone into the room, the beauty playing the piano, and the melodious sound of the piano resonating in the room, giving a wonderful feeling. Lin Xiaoxian saw Lin Xiaoxi. Lin Xiaoxi held up a finger to his lips. Lin Xiaoxian didn't say anything, and Lin Xiaoxi listened quietly. Dad. After the song was over, Lin Xiaoxian ran to Lin Xiaoxi. Lin Chen picked her up and kissed her. Xiaoqian, do you like the piano? MMM. Lin Xiaoqian nodded. Dad, where are the grandpas? Lin Chen smiled and said, they're in the study. Meng Yao, your dad should have some good tea, right? You can make them a pot of tea. They can pour themselves a cup if they're thirsty. Su Meng Yao stood up. I've already made tea. I didn't go in for fear of disturbing you. Lin Chen said, then take it into them. Their average age is over 70, so nothing can go wrong. Okay. Su Mengyao nodded. Soon Su Mengyao took the tea in. She saw Jiang Xuesong and the others all gathered around her father's desk. Everyone, there's tea here. If you're thirsty, you can come here and pour yourself some tea. Su Mengyao said. Jiang Xuesong and the others looked at Su Mengyao, while the rest of the people were so engrossed in Lin Chen's calligraphy that they didn't hear her. Mrs. Lin, thank you. Jiang Xuesong said, Mrs. Lin, can we add each other on WeChat? If Master Lin gets into any trouble, please let me know, and I will do my best to help if I can. Su Mengyao was taken aback. Jiang Lao, you can add my husband. Jiang Xuesong, we scholars like to save face, and we don't like to ask for help because we don't want to lose face. A few days ago, when Master Lin was hacked, he didn't ask me for help. We still have some energy after living for decades. Master Lin, please be sure to let us know if you get into trouble. He is a legend in our calligraphy world and absolutely cannot have anything happen to him. The other elderly people nodded in agreement. Su Mengyao reported her WeChat ID. Jiang Xuesong and several other people added Su Mengyao's WeChat. Thank you, seniors, for taking care of my husband. You continue, I won't disturb you. Su Mengyao said and left the room. She went to the music room. Lin Chen was teaching Lin Xiaoxi how to play the piano. Su Mengyao could easily tell that Lin Chen's level was very low, but she knew that with Lin Chen's talent, he would definitely be able to surpass her in this area in the future. Meng Yao, you come and teach Sis I need to go cook dinner. Lin Chen said, smiling as he looked at Su Mengyao. Su Mengyao walked over to him. Honey, a few of the Jian Laos have added me on WeChat. They said that if you ever get into trouble in the future, I should definitely contact them. Lin Chen said, try not to contact them. We make friends through literature, so it's best not to get mixed up with any ulterior motives. Su Mengyao laughed. No wonder the Jian Laos wanted to add me on WeChat. They knew you would do this. Don't worry, they're old, and I won't bother them unless it's absolutely necessary. Soon Lin Chen went downstairs to cook. There were a lot of people eating today, so he had to work a bit longer. Fortunately, Su Mengyao had 4 stoves here, so he could steam, cook, braise, and stir-fry all at the same time. In the study, Jiang Xuesong and the others were mesmerized. Time passed imperceptibly for an hour or two. Knock, knock. Su Mengyao knocked on the door and entered the study. Grandpa's dinner is ready. Dad's cooking is the best. Lin Xiaoxi, who was behind Su Mengyao, poked her head out and said in a baby voice. Cici, we'll be right there. Jiang Xuesong and the others reluctantly left the study. Soon they smelled the rich fragrance. It smells good. It smells so good, it must taste good. Jiang Xuesong and the others were surprised. Lin Chen's calligraphy was superb, and he was also extremely good at creating fairy tales, so could it be that his cooking was also very good? It wasn't long before everyone washed their hands and went to the dining room. There were already more than 10 dishes on the large dining table, and each looked even better than the plating in a 5-star hotel. You all sit down quickly. Try my cooking and let me know what you think. Lin Chen smiled, you have all helped me a lot, and later I will thank you with tea instead of wine. Jiang Xuesong and the others were not young, and Lin Chen had not arranged for alcohol, so it would not be good if something happened while they were drinking. Dad, there are so many dishes. I want to eat the meatballs in that dish. Lin Xiaoxian said happily as she sat down in the dining chair. Okay, but wait until the guests have eaten first. Lin Chen said lovingly. Master Lin, you're welcome, and we won't be rude either. Jiang Xuesong and the others started eating. Soon, they all widened their eyes in disbelief. The food in their mouths was so delicious. The food they were eating now was in comparison to the food they usually ate. It was like the food they usually ate was in comparison to food without oil or salt. The difference was even greater. Lin Chen's control over the taste of food was exquisite. Everyone, I'm not bad at cooking, right? Compared to calligraphy, my cooking skills should be a little better. Lin Chen smiled as he helped Lin Xiaoxi to pick up the dish. Cooking, even washing dishes, can improve your cooking skills. Calligraphy can only be improved by teaching Lin Xiaoxi to write. There is no doubt that he has spent more time on cooking. Master Lin, you are not just okay, you are a culinary god. State banquets are much worse than yours. Master Lin, I thought you were only good at calligraphy, but it seems that I am small-minded, you are good at everything. Everyone spoke up. Lin Chen smiled and said, since she liked it, I researched it more. Zhang Xuesong savored the food and said with emotion, Master Lin, we have really been opened up to new horizons by coming here. I never knew food could taste this good. No wonder she says that Dad's cooking is the best. Zhang Qingyuan said, I'm a foodie and I've tried all kinds of cuisines from around the world, but I've never tasted anything better than this. Master Lin, if you opened a restaurant, it would definitely be packed every day. Lin Chen chuckled lightly, full is impossible. I plan to open a high-end private kitchen, with ingredients prepared by myself, and a table costs 1 million. Only accept one table booking per week. It turned out that he planned to accept 1 or 2 tables per week. Now he feels a bit overwhelmed, and 1 table per week is just fine. Master Lin, are you serious? Zhang Xuesong and the others looked at Lin Chen in disbelief. Chapter 118, Earn 12 million. Lin Chen asked, honored guests, do you think the price I set is too high and no one will eat here? Zhang Qingyuan hurriedly shook his head, no. 1 million per table is not cheap, but for the truly wealthy, 1 million per table is not a big deal. But Master Lin, you are a top calligrapher, and it is possible for one of your works to sell for millions or tens of millions of dollars. You don't need to do this. An elderly man next to Zhang Qingyuan also said, yes, Master Lin, just a few of your calligraphy works would be enough to last you a lifetime. Zhang Xuesong thoughtfully said, Master Lin, you're mainly doing this to gain powerful connections, aren't you? In fact, we can also help you. Lin Chen lifted his teacup and drained it in one go. Thank you all for your love, I dare not trouble you with trivial matters. If you want to exchange calligraphy, you are always welcome. Zhang Xuesong looked helpless, Master Lin, you would rather beg others than us. Lin Chen smiled, old Zhang, there should be some rich people who like food. If they beg me, I will have no psychological burden when I ask them for help in the future. Moreover, in this way, I can obtain all kinds of top-notch ingredients from around the world, and my cooking skills can continue to improve. Zhang Xuesong nodded slightly. He sighed, your current cooking skills are already so high, and it's unimaginable to improve them even more. Master Lin, when you open your restaurant, let me know. I know a few rich friends, I'll help you promote it. Zhang Qingyuan and the others also offered to help. They all knew a lot of rich people due to their status. Lin Chen, thank you all, seniors. I'm not doing this mainly to make money. If you all promote it, just tell people who really like food. Zhang Xuesong and the others nodded. Master Lin, I don't think anyone doesn't like top-notch food. I think even people suffering from anorexia can eat happily. Someone said with a smile. Another person's eyes lit up, Master Lin, I know someone who has a net worth of tens of billions and whose daughter has anorexia. He should be extremely interested. When are you opening? Lin Chen, I haven't found a place yet, and I guess it will be at least a month before I open. The kind of people you're talking about are indeed my target customers. Other people pay him to cook. Under normal circumstances, no one owes anyone else. Eating a meal and never coming back is not the kind of thing that can develop into a network. Lin Chen's target customers fall into 3 categories. The first is people like this, who have anorexia nervosa themselves or in their family or among their friends. The second type is people who love good food and are super rich. They are completely unconcerned about spending $1 million on a meal. The third type is people with top-level business needs. The kind of person who can strike a deal that will generate at least 100 million in profits. Effective networking can only happen when other people have a need for him. Just knowing someone doesn't count. Master Lin, can you offer takeout here? Zhang Qingyuan asked. Lin Chen looked at Zhang Qingyuan and said, yes, it's good to take leftovers home to avoid waste. Zhang Qingyuan smiled and said, in that case, I'll support you in the future. I'll take leftovers home and put them in the refrigerator. I can eat them for a long time if I get more dishes that can be frozen. The rest of the people's eyes lit up. A meal costs 1 million yuan, and some of them can't really afford it. But spending 1 million yuan to have a dozen meals at home is not a big deal. They are not poor. This way, they can also get closer to Lin Xian. Lin Xian said helplessly, Old Zhang, don't join the fun, just come to my house if you want to eat. Zhang Qingyuan said, Master Lin, don't worry, if I come in the future, I will definitely bring a client with me. Master Lin, I will also come to support you. Zhang Xuesong said with a smile. The rest of them also spoke up one after the other. Lin Xiaoxian asked worriedly, Dad, are you going to work? Do you and Mom not want me anymore? Lin Xian quickly reassured her, CC, how could your mommy and I not want you? You're our little treasure. Are you saying that neither mommy nor I will take you with us? Lin Xiaoxian nodded with a pout. Lin Xian continued, Grandma and Grandpa will be back soon, and Mommy will have more time, so both Mommy and I will have a lot of time to take you with us. And Daddy will be able to feed you lots of delicious food. It's impossible for a customer to bring just one dish with them. Lin Xiaoxian will be able to eat to her heart's content. Dad, I don't want to be separated from you. Tears glistened in Lin Xiaoxian's eyes. Lin Xian wiped his mouth and kissed Lin Xiaoxian, saying, Don't worry, Dad will never be separated from you. Dad, let's pinky swear. Okay, pinky swear. Lin Xian said with a smile. More than half an hour passed, and Lin Xian and the others finished eating, while Zhang Xuesong and the others were all a little full. They don't normally eat much as they get older, but they don't have much resistance to top-notch food. Master Lin, do you sell these for calligraphic works? Can I spend 3 million to ask Master Lin to give me a calligraphic work? Someone asked as the group returned to the study. Master Lin, I would also like to ask for a calligraphic work for 3 million. Me too. The rest also hurriedly spoke up. Their families are quite wealthy, and they can afford 3 million. Lin Xian smiled and said, Masters, you don't need to buy it, I will write you each a piece as a gift. Zhang Xuesong quickly waved his hand and said, Master Lin, we appreciate your kindness, but this is not possible. If you give it to us, will others come and give it to you? You may get yourself into trouble by doing this. And if all your works are given away for free, the rest of our works will only be used as firewood. The rest of the people nodded. Lin Xian said, Zhang Lao, if you say that, not only can I not give it away for free, if someone from the outside wants to buy it, I have to hold on to it, and the price can't be low. Zhang Xuesong laughed and said, That's best. Your level is there, so you have to hold on to it if you have to. Lin Xian smiled and said, Okay, if someone from the outside wants to buy it, the minimum is 5 million, and if the number of characters is more, the minimum is 10 million, so you can have it for 3 million. Just these 4. You guys discuss it among yourselves. He stopped writing. As the saying goes, scarcity makes things valuable. If his works were to become too common, it would indeed have a great impact on others. Soon, Zhang Xuesong and the others began arguing. There were only 4 characters, and there were 7 people who wanted to buy them. After arguing for a while, they finally decided. Each painting was sold for 3 million, easily selling for 12 million. Of course, the money did not arrive so quickly. Master Lin, thank you for your hospitality, we'll be going now. Zhang Xuesong and the others left contentedly. Hubby, the neighbors invited us to dinner tonight. Su Mengyao told Lin Xian. Lin Xian asked, Are they the Yu Yangs and the others? Su Mengyao nodded, We used to get together every once in a while. Lin Xian smiled, I have no problem with that. Where are we meeting for dinner? Is there anything I need to be careful about? Su Mengyao glanced at Lin Xiaoxi. Lin Xiaoxi was a little far away at the moment. They may know the rumors in our company. Chapter 119, Sleeping in Su Mengyao's bed. How would they know? Lin Chen asked doubtfully. Su Mengyao said, There are quite a few people in our company, and some of their family companies have cooperated with us. Some couples have one spouse in our company and one in their company. Lin Chen's brows furrowed slightly. So we're not going? Su Mengyao said helplessly, Sissy knows. We talked about it while playing in the morning. I didn't know when Jian Lao and the others would leave, so I didn't mention it before. Sissy really wants to participate. Lin Chen said with a smile, If Sissy wants to participate, just go. At worst, I'll take a loss and we'll kiss when the time comes. Su Mengyao. She gave Lin Chen a look with her beautiful eyes and said, You're so beautiful. Where is the gathering? Lin Chen asked. Su Mengyao said, A farmhouse in the suburbs. There are lots of rides for kids to play on, and adults can also fish, barbecue, sing songs, and so on. At first they all went as a family, and Cece was too young to understand. She and Tian and the others had a lot of fun. Later, she gradually got along best with Yuan. Lin Xian said, because Yuan's parents got divorced, Cece didn't have a dad to keep her company, and Yuan didn't have a dad to keep her company either. Su Mengyao nodded gently. When do we leave? Lin Xian asked. Su Mengyao looked outside and said, it's too sunny at noon. Let's wait for Shishi to wake up from her nap, and go over there at 3 or 4 o'clock. Lin Xian looked down. Is this outfit appropriate? Zhang Shuesong, they are all scholars, and they make friends through literature, or they still gather at home. He is dressed quite casually. No problem. The 4 of them have at least 1 billion yuan in assets, and people of this status usually dress more casually, as long as they are comfortable. Su Mengyao surveyed Lin Xian and said. She felt that Lin Xian was becoming more and more handsome and charismatic. Could it be that the lover sees beauty in the beloved? In fact, Su Mengyao was not being entirely idealistic. Lin Xian's physique continued to improve as his genes improved, and in addition, the various abilities he acquired would also enhance his charisma. Even if they were twins, one who was ignorant and the other full of knowledge, they would definitely give off different impressions. Wife, what are you looking at? Haven't you seen a handsome guy before? Lin Xian said with a smile. Dreaming, there are plenty of better-looking guys in the world than you. Su Mengyao said coquettishly. She didn't notice Lin Xiaoxi approaching, and Lin Xiaoxi said in a baby voice, Mommy, Daddy is the most handsome. My daddy is the most handsome, hee hee. Lin Xiaoxi hugged Lin Xian's thigh. Daddy, I want to go to bed, will you tell me a story? Lin Xian picked up Lin Xiaoxian and kissed her, saying, Of course I do. Now, think of what story you want to hear. Soon Lin Xian was carrying Lin Xiaoxian upstairs. He was going to carry her to the room where he slept at night. Daddy, I want to sleep in Mommy's room. Why do you want to sleep in Mommy's room? Lin Xiaoxian, I want to sleep in Mommy's room so I can smell her and I can still hug Daddy. Okay then. Lin Xian carried Lin Xiaoxian to Su Mengyao's bedroom. After telling a story, Lin Xian coaxed Lin Xiaoxian to sleep. Unknowingly, Lin Xiaoxian fell asleep, and he fell asleep as well. Su Mengyao packed up the things she needed to take with her when she went out. She went upstairs and wanted to go back to her bedroom to rest for a while. When she opened the door, Lin Xian and Su Mengyao were both sleeping in her bed. Husband, you stinking scoundrel, you actually slept in my bed. Su Mengyao muttered to herself. In the past, if a man slept in her bed, she would reject it vehemently and would choose to get rid of the bed. Now, Su Mengyao silently backed out. She slightly considered sleeping in the bed Lin Xian slept in last night. She definitely would not sleep in her parents' bed, and Cece's bed would be slept in when the nanny took Cece. In comparison, she would rather sleep in the guest room where Lin Xian slept. After waking up, Lin Xian slept quite comfortably. Lin Cece had not yet woken up. Lin Xian got up and went outside the bedroom, and he happened to see Su Mengyao coming out of the guest room where he slept last night. Wife, why are you sleeping in my room? Su Mengyao. She snapped, you're turning the tables. You rotten bastard took my bed first, okay? Lin Xian smiled and said, I had no choice when she wanted to sleep in your room. I fell asleep with her by accident. You had a choice, so did you subconsciously want to sleep with me? Su Mengyao. She gave Lin Xian a wide-eyed glance, who wants to sleep with you? Are you going to drive your own car or someone else's car? Their cars are all of a higher class. Is the party venue closer to here or closer to my place? Su Mengyao, it's an hour's drive from here and half an hour from your place. Lin Xian said, then let's drive my own car. You shouldn't care, and I'm not afraid of them laughing at me. We can just go straight to my place tonight. Cece can go to bed a little earlier then. Su Mengyao nodded. Less than half an hour later, Lin Xiaoxi woke up. The other 4 families were already ready to go, and Lin Xian and the others quickly joined them. The 4 families had 2 Range Rovers, a Mercedes-Benz Grand G, and an extended Range Rover. Next to them, Lin Xian's car felt a bit out of place. If the family was ordinary, even if the child was good at playing with such neighbors would also feel a bit stressful. Lin Xian doesn't feel anything at the moment. He doesn't have as much money as they do, but 30% of the shares in TongXIN.com were worth 120 million before. It's more than that now. Together with real estate and savings, his assets exceed 200 million. He also has a rich wife. Lin Zone, we've heard about you from Yi and the others, and today we finally get to meet you in person. Nice to meet you. I'm Tian's father. Tian's father reached out and shook Lin Chen's hand. Lin Zone, I'm Yi's father. I'm Pippi's father. The other two men also shook Lin Chen's hand. They looked to be in their 30s, and Lin Chen's father was probably the oldest, most likely over 40. With a successful career and a wealthy family, it was normal for his wife to be much younger. Lin Chen smiled and said, "Hello. It's so hot, let's get going. We can chat more when we get there." Okay. Everyone quickly got in the car and set off. In the backseat safety seat, Lin Xiaoxi said happily, "Mommy, I'm so happy. Before, every day they had a dad, but now I have a dad too. Daddy, I want to feed the rabbits. I want to feed the deer too." Lin Chen said lovingly, "No problem. Xiaoqian, Yuan's dad isn't here, and you and Yuan are good friends, so you have to play with her a lot, okay?" MHM. Lin Xiaoqian nodded. Su Mengyao said, "Honey, show off a little when the time comes." Lin Xiaoqian was puzzled. "Mom, what does it mean to show off?" "Both of Dad's hands are showing." Su Mengyao burst out laughing. She explained, "Xiaoqian, showing off means for Dad to demonstrate a little so that others know that your dad is awesome and they'll want to play with him." Lin Xiaoqian seemed to understand. "Dad, then show off. Let others know that your mom's husband is awesome." Lin Xiaoqian giggled. Lin Chen turned his head and looked at Su Mengyao and said, "Mengyao, if you want me to show off, then scream 'I love you, husband' and let me hear it." Su Mengyao. Neither the husband nor the daughter is obedient. Chapter 120, Acquiring 2 New Skills. "I'm not going to call it," Su Mengyao said coquettishly. Lin Chen deliberately asked in a low tone, "Cici, what if mommy doesn't call it and daddy is very sad?" Lin Xiaoqian, "Mommy, are you shy? You learn from me, love daddy, daddy, I love you so much." Which father would not be confused when his daughter said this in a cute, baby voice? Lin Chen had the urge to have another daughter. Lin Xiaoqian is even younger, and he didn't participate when she was younger, which is a pity. "Mommy, can you say it? If you can't, I'll teach you again," Lin Xiaoqian asked with a smile. Su Mengyao. She saw Lin Xiaoqian's little expression in the rearview mirror. Lin Xiaoqian was probably doing it on purpose. "Lin Chen, Cici, you're doing the right thing. The key to anything we do is perseverance. Just like learning to draw, you used to draw badly, but now you're much better." Lin Xiaoqian nodded. Su Mengyao said in a bad mood, "Are you acting? I can't talk to you alone, I said it's okay." Love husband." Lin Chen smiled and said in agreement. Lin Xiaomo giggled and said, "Dad, you're not sad anymore, right? Mom loves you too." Lin Chen said happily, "Dad's not sad anymore. Mom said she loves you twice, so I'll show off a little." Su Mengyao's face turned slightly red. "Lin Xiaoxi, Mom and Dad, let's sing a song." "Sure." Su Mengyao quickly said. Quickly changed the subject. An hour later, Lin Chen and the others arrived in the countryside, and they arrived at a very nice farmhouse. Yuan, let's go feed the rabbits." Lin Xiaoxi took Yuan's hand as soon as they got out of the car. The other 3 little ones did the same. Lin Chen and Tian's father followed them to the animal area. There were quite a few small animals kept here. Lin Chen taught Lin Xiaoxi and the others how to feed safely. Lin Chen knew a little about it. 5 minutes passed. The host Lin Xiaoxi feeds the animals, gaining taming skills. 10 hours to master level, 20 hours to grand master level. The system's voice sounded as expected. It was just a bit different from what Lin Chen had expected. He thought he would gain feeding skills, but he didn't expect to gain taming skills. There was no doubt that taming skills were better. The taming skill includes the skill of taming. If this skill is very strong, it is estimated that lions and tigers can be easily tamed. A lot of information flooded into Lin Chen's mind. It was naturally easier for Lin Chen to teach Lin Xiaoxi and the others. Half an hour passed and Lin Xiaoxi and the others finished feeding. Lin Chen and the others went to the children's climbing area again. 5 minutes later. "Cici, when climbing upwards, you have to hold on tight, or you have to step well, otherwise you will fall." Lin Chen taught Lin Xiaoxi very patiently. The other 4 children were older and could play better, and Lin Chen had not usually brought Lin Xiaoxi to play on the climbing equipment. The playground had climbing equipment, but Lin Xiaoxi was a girl and she was not interested in playing alone. The system will teach Lin Xiaoxi to climb, and she will gain the skill of wall walking. 20 hours will take her to the level of master, and 40 hours will take her to the level of grandmaster. The system's voice sounded in Lin Chen's head. Lin Chen was stunned. He had actually obtained such a skill. He had thought he would obtain a skill like climbing. Flying on the grass is 30 to 60 hours, this one is only 20 to 40 hours, so it is less difficult. But isn't this a bit repetitive? Lin Chen muttered to himself. System, this is different. Flying on the grass requires controlling internal strength to form a force field against the ground, and it focuses more on speed. Flying over the eaves and walking on the walls focuses more on agility. Anyway, it's good to have this. Flying over eaves and walls is much easier to improve. Flying on the grass, Lin Xiaoxian needs to practice running. She is not unwilling to learn, but she is still very young, and she gets tired after 10 minutes, and it will take a long time to reach the master level. As for climbing, if Lin Xiaoxian likes it, she won't have any problems playing for an hour at a time. Having obtained the system skills, Lin Chen will find it easier to teach. The flying over eaves and walls skill includes climbing. 10 minutes passed. Lin Zong, what kind of work do you do? You know a lot about raising animals and climbing. Yi's mother also said that you play basketball and are very good at telling stories. Yi's father asked Lin Chen curiously. Lin Chen laughed and said, it's kind of a cultural industry. But I'm relatively idle, and now I mainly take care of Cici. Yi's father said, how is the cultural industry? The economy has been bad these past 2 years, and my company's performance is average. It's okay. Lin Chen said. It's not a big deal to set a small goal every year. Even without shares in Tongxinwang and without selling overseas rights, he can still make a small profit every year. He plans to publish a fairy tale every month, and each fairy tale will print at least 2 million copies, which is 12 million here. In reality, each fairy tale will definitely print more than 2 million copies. A small goal every year is absolutely fine. If you add overseas rights and the increase in the value of the company's shares, it is very possible to achieve 3 to 5 small goals a year. Yi's father looked at Lin Chen in amazement. The profit of one small goal a year is very impressive. Some companies may have a turnover of tens of billions of dollars, but when you calculate the profit at the end of the year, it's a negative number. Lin Zong, you're amazing. Yi's father exclaimed, my shitty company was doing well a few years ago, but the past 2 years have seen a pitiful decline in profits. Drip. Lin Chen's phone rang at that moment. Sorry, I need to take this call. Lin Chen walked away a little to answer the phone. Editor-in-Chief Chen, what's up? Chen Xinhan on the other end of the line said, Big brother Lin Yu, several large overseas publishing houses are planning to buy the rights. Their offers are already quite high. Lin Chen, how much? The highest offer for the overseas rights to the 3 books you published is 20 million. Lin Chen's brows furrowed, 20 million? They can think again. Chen Xinhan hurriedly said, Mr. Lin, it's not 20 million renminbi, it's 20 million US dollars. Lin Chen was stunned. 20 million US dollars? That sounds more reasonable. But this price still doesn't meet my expectations. Editor-in-Chief Chen, let's keep them waiting for a while longer. Lin Chen said after considering for a moment. Okay. After hanging up the phone, Lin Chen went over to Yi's father. Yi's father looked at Lin Chen in surprise. General Manager Lin, if I'm not mistaken, you are the great Lin Yu? Lin Chen smiled, is it that easy to guess? Yi's father said, in the cultural industry, there are so many people who can make so much money, and I think about it and come to the conclusion that only the great god Lin Yu can do it. And you are good at telling stories. Lin Chen extended his hand. Yi's father, let's get to know each other again. Lin Yu is my pen name, please help keep it a secret. I don't want to be exposed and affect taking care of Cici. Yi's father shook Lin Chen's hand. He said excitedly, the great god Lin Yu is really you, we read the fairy tales you wrote to Yi every day. Yi really likes them. Her mother even bought one of your signed books for 80,000 yuan. Chapter 121, He's Your Idol. Lin Chen laughed and said, thank you for your appreciation. In the future, don't waste this money, I'll give you a book for free. Yi's father shook his head and said, this money is not wasted. Your signed book is definitely worth this price. I didn't think it was worth it until the book arrived, but when it did, we really saw the forest and we heard the birds singing in the trees, just like they said online. This is much more fragrant than those handbags my wife buys. Pippi's father also came over. What are you talking about, Mr. Chen and Mr. Lin? Zhang has already caught a fish. Are you guys going fishing? Lin Chen, she and the others aren't tired of playing yet, I'll keep an eye on them. If you want to go fishing, Yi's father, you can go. Okay. Yi's father nodded. He was very relieved to have Lin Chen watching over the kids. Soon, Pippi's father and Yi's father walked away. Yi's father said, "Brotherly, didn't Brother Zhang say that there are rumors that their marriage is a sham? I don't think they're married for real. Brother Lin is unfathomable." Pippi's father's eyes revealed surprise. They had been neighbors for several years, and Yi's father was not someone who easily gave in. His family had assets of 3 to 4 billion yuan. Lin Chen is unfathomable? But the rumors say he is very ordinary. Yi's father sighed, so rumors are just rumors. What kind of person is President Su? How could her husband be bad? Compared to Brother Lin, I am at a loss. In terms of assets, he doesn't think his family will be poor. Billions of dollars is a lot. Compared to the Su family, Lin Chen should be fine for the time being. But Lin Chen is the new fairy tale king, and his calligraphy is superb. His calligraphy is highly regarded by masters such as Jiang Shuesong. 1,000 years from now, people will still know Lin Chen, but will anyone know him? He has long since faded into the mists of history. What did you guys talk about? Pippi's father asked in surprise. Even though Lin Chen is worth tens of billions, it's still hard for him to be convinced like this. I can't say. If you want to know, you can ask him yourself in the future. Yi's father shook his head and said, President Su and Brother Lin haven't held a banquet yet, but I guess it's a matter of time. Pippi's father, that's good. She is so cute, and it's a good thing for her that they're really together. Yi's father nodded. Half an hour passed, and Lin Chen's skills in flying along the eaves and walking on walls improved a lot, and he felt that his footsteps had become lighter. Dad, let's not play this anymore. We want to hear a story. Lin Xiaoxi said, and the 5 of them ran over. Okay. Lin Chen smiled. He found a shady place and started to tell the story to Lin Xiaoxi and the others. Lin Xiaoxi and the others listened with great interest. After finishing the 2 stories, Su Mengyao came over. She had a slight smile on her face. Lin Chen came over together, and Lin Xiaoxi was even happier than before. She was also much more comfortable herself. Honey, you've worked hard. I'll give you some barbecue. Su Mengyao gave Lin Chen a few skewers of her own barbecue. Can we eat this? Lin Chen took the barbecue and said weakly. The skewers were cooked, but some parts were blackened and there were signs of scissors having been used to trim them. They were probably even uglier before they were trimmed. Su Mengyao blushed. I think they're edible. You haven't tried them yet? Lin Chen asked. Su Mengyao, should I give you some before it's done? Lin Chen took out a piece and tasted it. His expression froze. Is salt-free? Not tasty? Su Mengyao asked hopefully. Lin Chen coughed lightly. Try it yourself? He handed Su Mengyao the skewer he had bitten into. Yi's mother and the others also came over at this time, and Su Mengyao flirtatiously gave Lin Chen a look and tried it with her mouth. It's salty. Su Mengyao instantly turned into a bitter face. Lin Chen laughed and said, I'll go grill it. We adults can eat barbecue, but what about the children? Su Mengyao said, there's rice here. They can have a few skewers of non-spicy barbecue. Lin Chen nodded. Soon, Lin Chen and the others arrived at the barbecue area together, and the 5 little ones, Lin Xiaoxi and the others, also arrived. Things were sizzling on the 2 grills. Su Mengyao's family were all local tyrants, and they had prepared some excellent ingredients, but these ingredients had not been marinated, so grilling them fresh was a real test of one's skills. Lin Chen quickly got to work. He first grilled some beef for Lin Xiaoxi and the others. Su Mengyao's family had prepared quite a lot of seasonings, and under Lin Chen's handling, the beef soon exuded a fragrant smell. CC, 2 for each of you. Lin Chen gave Lin Xiaoxi and the others a skewer of beef. Uncle, it's delicious. Uncle, the meat you grilled is really delicious. Soon, Yi and the others were full of praise. Lin Xiaoxi's face showed a sweet smile. In the past, when she came over, Su Mengyao was not good at grilling, and she could only eat the food grilled by other people's fathers. Now, Yi and the others can eat the food grilled by her father, and she feels very happy. Time passed by minute. Gradually, it got dark. Lin Chen and the others packed up, got into the car, and went home. There was a place to sleep here, but Lin Chen and the others didn't have any plans to do that. Daddy, I'm so happy. Daddy, I love you. Lin Xiaoxi said happily as the car started. Although she had had a good time when she had come before, deep down she had been more or less a little lost. Others had their dads with them, but she didn't have her dad with her. This time, she finally had her dad with her. Cici, what about Mom? Su Mengyao asked, turning her head. Lin Xiaoxi said sweetly, Mom, I love you too. After playing for a while, Lin Xiaoxi fell asleep. Su Mengyao, honey, Yi's father, and the others seem to be looking at you differently. Do they already know that you write under the pen name Linyu? Lin Chen smiled faintly and said, Yi's father guessed it, but I don't think Tian's father or Pai's father know. If they know, I won't deny it, but if they don't know, I don't bother telling them. Su Mengyao nodded. One of the two Culinary cars. Yi also fell asleep. Yi's mother said doubtfully, honey, you seem to have a lot of respect for Cici's father. What's going on? She knew her husband very well. He admired capable people, and he would only maintain a polite appearance with people who were not capable. Even if Lin Chen was Su Menyao's husband. But she found that her husband had a lot of respect for Lin Chen. He's your idol. Yi's father said, looking at Yi through the rearview mirror. My idol? I don't follow stars. Yi's mother said doubtfully. Suddenly she froze, and a few seconds later she said incredulously, Husband, don't tell me he's Linyu. Yi's father said, he is Linyu. This is still only known to me, so you mustn't spread it. He doesn't want to be exposed for the time being, as it would affect him bringing Cici up. Yi's mother said, no wonder you respect him so much. Yi's father said with emotion, I'm just a bit rich, and even if I don't look at the world, I'm not a nobody even if I look at the whole country. Lin Chen is the top fairy tale writer, the top calligrapher, and his cooking is also amazing. Yi's mother exclaimed in awe, I thought the great god Linyu was at least 40 or 50 years old, I didn't expect him to be so young. Someone in the community still wants to hit on Mengyao. Lin Chen is so awesome that people who want to hit on her are just thinking too much. Yi's father was curious, who wants to hit on President Su? Chapter 122, Su Menyao's hug. Honey, take a guess. Yi's mother said. Yi's father pondered. Their community was purely a villa community, with just over 100 villas, some of which were still vacant. He had basically met all his neighbors. He was quite familiar with many of them. After all, the people who bought houses here were not simple people. With ready-made connections, they had to get to know each other. Yi's father, who was older, passed directly. This kind of person should have a sense of awareness. Even if they are very rich, Su Menyao's family has tens of billions of dollars, does she lack money? Ugly people also passed directly. This kind of person should also be clear that they have no chance. Having children also passes, can Su Mengyao be a stepmother? Su Mengyao is beautiful and her family is extremely wealthy, and she has a daughter, which many people don't care about. But if the man has a child, Su Mengyao definitely cares. Li Lin from Villa 32? Yi's father thought for a moment before speaking. Honey, you're amazing, you got it right on the first try. Yi's father hummed, he's handsome, he's got a good body for a fitness blogger, and he's still quite attractive to women. His only drawback is that he's not rich enough, and the Su family's money is a big draw for him. Honey, how do you know he has designs on President Su? Yi's mother said, some of us women have a group chat, and the community is so small, we'd know if he made a move. But President Su doesn't know. Li Lin hasn't lived here long enough, and she's not in our gossip group because Su is always busy. Yi's father said in surprise, you haven't told Su? No. If we used to gossip about Li Lin, and they get together, won't we be embarrassed? Now we know for sure that Li Lin has no hope. Honey, will you talk to Linyu? Yi's mother said. Okay. Yi's father nodded, having already added Lin Chen to WeChat. Someone was trying to undermine Lin Chen's position, and he had to say something. Half an hour later, Lin Chen and the others arrived home. Lin Xiaoxian was still asleep. Lin Chen gently carried her home. Just as they arrived home, Lin Xiaoxian woke up and said dazedly, Dad, where's Mom? I don't want Mom and Dad to get divorced. Cece, Mom's here. Su Mengyao said as she came out of the bathroom. She was just about to wipe Lin Xiaoxi's face so that she could go straight to sleep. Mommy. Lin Xiaoxi's eyes lit up. Lin Chen kissed Lin Xiaoxi and smiled. Xiaoxi, Mommy and Daddy love you very much, we're not getting a divorce. Su Mengyao, Xiaoxi, why did you say that? Because of Yuan Yuan? Lin Xiaoxi nodded her little head. Mommy, Yuan Yuan used to have a daddy to keep her company, but now she doesn't have a daddy anymore. Yuan Yuan is so sad. Su Mengyao sighed inwardly. She could also see that Yuan Yuan was a little lost today. Cece, don't worry, Mom and Dad are still very much in love. Su Mengyao said, petting Lin Xiaoxi's head in comfort. Lin Xiaoxi looked at Lin Chen and then at Su Mengyao. Mom, then why haven't you ever hugged Dad? Su Mengyao opened her arms. She hugged Lin Chen and Lin Xiaoxi at the same time. Last time Lin Chen hugged her, he did so from a distance, but this time, Su Mengyao took the initiative to hug her, without keeping Lin Xiaoqian in between. Lin Xiaoqian was on her left, and Lin Chen was on her right. Who says I've never hugged my father? We didn't want you to see us cuddling in private. Su Mengyao said with a slight blush. She could feel her heart pounding. Lin Xiaoqian smiled sweetly. Daddy, kiss Mommy. Su Mengyao's heart skipped a beat. She could now accept a hug like this. Lin Chen kissing her, she still had some psychological barriers. Just then Su Mengyao's phone rang. She quickly let go of the two and took out her phone. It was her father calling for a video call, and Su Mengyao connected. Dad, Mom. Su Mengyao called out. Su Guofeng and Yang Qingyue were together at the moment. Grandparents, Mom just hugged Dad. Lin Xiaoxi said in a baby voice. Su Mengyao. Su Guofeng and Yang Qingyue were delighted. Their daughter hugged Lin Chen? It seems that her illness has improved a lot. Lin Chen appeared in the camera. Uncle Su, Auntie Yang. Su Guofeng smiled. Lin Chen, we'll be back next Wednesday. There's something we want to discuss with you. Lin Chen, Uncle Su, what's the matter? Su Guofeng coughed lightly and said, You're married now, and it's not a good idea for Mengyao to keep living at her parents' place. You've bought a house now, so she can live there with you. Su Mengyao's face flushed. She pouted and said, Dad, are you kicking me out? Su Guofeng shook his head and said, I'm not kicking you out. Your parents' home will always be your home, but now that you're married and have a family of your own, your new family is the most important. Lin Chen, what do you think? Lin Chen quickly said, Uncle Su, you are brilliant. Dad, don't you want to ask my opinion first? Su Mengyao said with a pout. Yang Qingyue said, Mengyao, we are doing this for your own good. Not many couples have a good relationship if they live at their parents' house for a long time. It will also be convenient for you to live together and take care of Shishi. I'll think about it. Su Mengyao said. She had already had this idea for a long time. But she felt a bit embarrassed to just agree to move here. Su Guofeng, let's do it this way. Let's have a democratic vote. You, us, and Sisai, the five of us. Raise your hand if you agree to move. Su Guofeng and Yang Qingyue raised their hands. Lin Chen also raised his hand, and Lin Xiaoxi giggled, raising her small hand high in the air as well. Su Mengyao. It's better not to vote in such a democratic way. Okay. I'll hurry up and move. Su Mengyao said in a bad mood. Su Guofeng said with a smile, Mengyao, you should move before we go back. Moving is noisy, and your mother still needs some time to recover. Su Mengyao nodded. Dad, we have to go now. After saying that, Su Mengyao hung up the phone. Cece, you little traitor. Why don't you stand by your mother's side? Su Mengyao pinched Lin Xiaoxi's tender face. Lin Xiaoxi giggled and said, Because I miss you, Mom. Are you sad, Mom? Yes, I'm a little sad. Su Mengyao said, pretending to be sad. Mom, Dad, and I will kiss you, so you won't be sad anymore. Su Mengyao instantly stopped being sad. Cece, Mom's not sad, I was just teasing you. Mommy is going to give you a bath. Su Mengyao and Lin Xiaoxi went to take a bath, and Lin Chen's face revealed a faint smile. Today's gains were not bad. He had gained 2 skills, and Su Mengyao was moving in 2. He was quite looking forward to living with Su Mengyao. It was soon to sleep together. Lin Chen knew it was impossible. Su Mengyao's mental illness would not get better so easily, but living together would definitely lead to a lot of intimate contact. With more contact, the iceberg would melt faster. Ding! Lin Xiaoxi finished showering and Su Mengyao took over. Lin Chen received a WeChat message. Yi's father had arrived home, and he sent the message. Lingu, Arlie Lin in Villa 32 has a crush on President Su. He is a fitness blogger. The online name is. Lin Chen quickly found Li Lin's account. Li Lin had 3 to 4 million followers, which was quite a lot. Chapter 123 Husband, do you know any foreign languages? Quite handsome. Lin Chen muttered to himself. After recognizing the person, he logged out. In the past, when Su Mengyao was not married, and neither was Li Lin, he had every right to pursue them. As long as he didn't mess around in the future, there was no reason for him to target him. It was normal for Su Mengyao to be pursued because she was beautiful and rich. Of course, now that he and Su Mengyao are married, if he continues to pester her like Zhao Tianyou did, or even coerce him into leaving, Lin Chen would find that very objectionable. Brother Chen, thank you. Lin Chen replied. Yi's father is called Chen Shiming, and he works in the family business. After a few more years of training, he is expected to take the helm of the family. These are not his own words, but Su Mengyao's. Birds of a feather flock together. Lin Xiaoxian's friends are all from wealthy families, with assets starting from 1 billion yuan. Lingu, you're too polite. I will let you know if there is any situation here. Our family of 3 is now your fan. Chen Shiming was very polite. He knew very well that Lin Chen would definitely go down in history, and if he had a good relationship with Lin Chen, he might also be able to leave a name in history. Even if he was only mentioned briefly, he would be very happy. Moreover, Lin Chen is unlikely to remain low-key in the future, and Lin Chen's influence will definitely surpass the Su family in the future. Dad, I've made my choice. Tell me this story. Lin Xiaoxi said in a baby voice as she held the book. Okay. Lin Chen said gently. He quickly began to tell Lin Xiaoxi the story. She slept in the car on the way back, so she probably won't go to bed so early today. 10 minutes passed before Su Mengyao came out of the shower. Lin Chen looked at Su Mengyao. He was a little jealous. Su Mengyao's appearance was already extremely attractive, and after a shower, she was wearing silk pajamas, which were really seductive. Lin Chen, you go do your thing. I'll tell Cici a story. Su Mengyao said with a little shyness in her expression. She could feel that Lin Chen was looking at her with a more eager gaze. Cici, mommy will tell you a story. Daddy still needs to read and work after the bath. Lin Chen kissed Lin Cici. Daddy, no. Daddy, will you tell me another story? Lin Cici held Lin Chen's arm and cooed. Lin Chen, then Daddy will tell you this one again in English. MMM. Lin Chen slowly began to speak in perfect English. He now knows more than 20 foreign languages. As his foreign language skills improve, Lin Xiaoxi's language talent will also improve. With a language environment, children learn languages quickly. Now Lin Xiaoxi can already understand most of what is said. Su Mengyao goes to bed. She sits on the other side of the bed and listens quietly. Her English is not bad, but listening to Lin Chen tell stories, she can clearly feel the difference between her English and Lin Chen's. A story is finished after 7 or 8 minutes. Su Mengyao asked curiously, Lin Chen, when you usually tell Shishi stories, do you also tell them in English? Lin Chen smiled and said, at first, I didn't. But later, when Shishi started to understand a little, I started to tell her stories in English, and the effect was quite good. She improved her English quite quickly. After she learns English, you can teach her 1 or 2 more languages. Lin Xiaoxi's language talent is constantly improving, and Lin Chen feels that she will definitely have no problem learning 3 or 4 foreign languages. Su Mengyao said, how many languages do you know now? Lin Chen said with a smile, I know more now, more than 20, but I haven't counted. Su Mengyao looked at Lin Chen in shock. Lin Chen knows more than 20 foreign languages? Some great diplomats know 7 or 8 foreign languages, which is very impressive, but compared to Lin Chen's knowledge of more than 20 foreign languages, it's just a drop in the bucket. Honey, have you encountered any translation problems recently? Su Mengyao shook her head, the company has translators. It's just that when it comes to something professional, the company's translators sometimes don't translate as accurately. If you often need to find a translation company, how will you develop? Lin Chen nodded slightly. In the future, if there is something like this, you can come to me if you're not sure. I can speak a little of the mainstream foreign languages now. HM. Su Mengyao nodded. Lin Xiaoxi looked at Lin Chen in admiration and said, "Dad, you're so awesome." "Dad, I want to become really good too." Lin Chen smiled and said, "Cici, as long as you want to learn, Dad will be able to teach you in the future." MMM. Lin Xiaochen nodded seriously. Su Mengyao muttered to herself, "Cici is very smart, but what Lin Chen has learned, she will probably never be able to finish learning in 10 lifetimes." Lin Chen walked out. After taking a shower and finishing writing a fairy tale, he started reading. After Lin Xiaoqian fell asleep, Su Mengyao went to the study. She saw Lin Chen reading a book about airplanes while hugging it. She had read some of these books before. It was really hard to read. "Lin Chen, are you really planning to build airplanes in the future?" Su Mengyao asked doubtfully. Lin Chen looked up at Su Mengyao and said, "It's impossible for me to build them myself. I don't have that kind of free time. I'll just provide the technical support." "Build it myself?" "There's only one thing I like to build." Su Mengyao asked curiously, "What do you like to build?" "Build people." Su Mengyao. Her face quickly turned red as she snapped, "What nonsense." Lin Chen laughed, "I'm telling the truth." "Wife, do you know someone named Li Lin in your community?" "Yes, I've met him a few times." "Why?" Su Mengyao asked curiously. "Brother Chen told me that he has feelings for you. If you run into him in the future, you should be a little more careful." Su Mengyao frowned slightly and said unhappily, "He's quite good looking, so what's he doing setting his sights on me?" Lin Chen laughed lightly and said, "What do you think? Some people would kill for $1 million, and your family has tens of billions of assets. It's just that you're too pretty, and if you were less attractive, there would be even more people after you." Su Mengyao blushed with shyness. Lin Chen said she was too beautiful, and she took it very much to heart. "Why would there be more people pursuing me if I were less attractive?" Lin Chen laughed and said, "This is the difference between men and women. A woman sees a young and handsome boss, and she will think that the other person is her type, even if she is menopausal herself. A man sees a rich and beautiful woman, and even if she is not well off, he will flatter himself without being told." Su Mengyao, "So you never even looked for me before?" Lin Chen shook his head. "That's not true. I didn't know your family was so wealthy. After that night, I still wanted to take responsibility, but you didn't give me the chance, you went abroad to study. I got someone to get your phone number, but it was disconnected when I called." Su Mengyao said in silence for a while, "I didn't go abroad right away, but after this happened, my father changed my number as soon as possible for fear that I would be shocked." Lin Chen was about to say something, but then stopped. He wanted to know what happened to the guy who tried to assault Su Mengyao, but was afraid that asking would upset Su Mengyao. "Wife, it's all in the past. Without what happened back then, we wouldn't have Cici, and we would have never gotten together." Lin Chen put down his book, got up, and gently hugged Su Mengyao. Su Mengyao's body stiffened slightly. Before, there was Lin Cici in the hug. Now, it was just the two of them together. Chapter 124 System, is this a gas feeling? Lin Chen felt Su Mengyao's body tremble slightly. "Wife, are you scared?" Lin Chen patted Su Mengyao's back lightly. Su Mengyao trembled and said, "I'm not scared, but I can't control my body, I didn't mean to." Lin Chen said softly, "Wife, what happened in the past will never happen again, I will definitely protect you, don't worry." MMM. Su Mengyao nodded lightly. Half a minute passed, and her body was still trembling, and her face gradually turned pale. Lin Chen let go of Su Mengyao. Who? Su Mengyao gasped heavily. Just now, her breathing had become a bit difficult. "Hubby, I like you, but I still can't control it. I don't know why this is happening." Su Mengyao looked at Lin Chen and said sullenly. She was worried that Lin Chen would be disappointed in her if she continued like this. Lin Chen reassured her, "It's okay. I'm also considered a half-doctor, I understand. If rationality could be controlled easily, there would be no post-traumatic stress disorder. But this is not a tiger either, so we don't need to be afraid of it. A hug is still okay." Su Mengyao mustered her courage and said, "Then you try again?" Her body stopped trembling. Lin Chen shook his head, "Just try it once today. This is also a kind of treatment. Treatment emphasizes gradual progress. Using too much medication can have the opposite effect." MMM. Su Mengyao nodded lightly. "Honey, go back to reading. I'm going to take another shower. I just sweated and I don't feel well. Su Mengyao walked out and gently closed the door. She covered her chest, her heart pounding. Lin Chen's face revealed a faint smile. There has been progress, not bad, not bad. Su Mengyao stress response just now was a bit too much, but in the future, holding each other will definitely reduce the stress response. The main reason for the reduction is not because of the hug, but because of the feelings. If there aren't enough feelings, the hug will only be counterproductive. Lin Chen continued reading. Su Mengyao took a quick shower. Knock, knock. Su Mengyao knocked on the door and poked her head in. Honey, you don't have to work tomorrow, it's Sunday, so let's move tomorrow. I'll ask Xinqing to help me move. Don't you want to hire a moving company? Lin Chen asked. Su Mengyao shook her head. I'm only moving my personal belongings, clothes, shoes, cosmetics, bags, and so on. I'll drive here, so there's no need to hire a moving company. You drive one car, Xinqiang and I will drive the other car, and that should be enough to move all my things here. Lin Chen nodded. That's fine. Good night, honey. You should check later to see if Shishi has kicked the covers. Su Mengyao blushed slightly. She remembered that in the past, Lin Xiaoxi had not kicked the covers, but she had. Lin Chen had even commented that her legs were very long and white. Lin Chen smiled and said, Aren't you going to close the door? Then don't kick the covers, or I'll see your legs again. Su Mengyao said coyly, If you want to look, just look. I'm your wife, it's not a big deal if you look. After she finished speaking, Su Mengyao quickly closed the door and slipped away. Lin Chen was beaming. Su Mengyao had moved in, so it seemed that she would have plenty of benefits in the future. Back in the bedroom, Su Mengyao crawled under the covers. She felt a little heat in her face. Zaya Kingzi, do you have time tomorrow? A little while later, Su Mengyao sent a message to Xinqiang. Yes, what does my lady need her servant for? Xinqiang quickly replied. Su Mengyao, help me move tomorrow. Xinqiang was stunned. Move? Are you moving in with Lin Chen? Su Shu and the others haven't returned yet. If you move at this time, won't they feel bad when they get back? Su Mengyao. Their parents will feel bad? It was they who told her to move before they returned. They told me to move. Seeing Su Mengyao reply, Xinqiang was speechless. It turned out that Su Menyao's parents had asked her to move out, so it was fine. Your parents are wise. Su Menyao's forehead darkened as she thought, Xinqing, you also want me to move in early so that it's convenient for you to eat my food, right? Xinqing, is it that obvious? Su Mengyao. Take a taxi directly to my house tomorrow. You might need to drive a car here at that time. Yes, ma'am. Mengyao, let me ask you a question. Where are you and Lin Chen at right now? Have you already consummated your relationship? As your military advisor, I need to know your situation. Su Mengyao, I'm not telling. I'm going to sleep now. Bye. The next day, Lin Xiaoxi woke up first. Su Mengyao was sleeping on her side, and Lin Xiaoxi snuggled up in her arms. She had a sweet smile on her face. Su Mengyao soon woke up. Shishi, you woke up early today. Su Mengyao said, kissing Lin Xiaoxi's forehead. Lin Xiaoxi, Mommy, I'm fully charged. Mommy, didn't Daddy sleep with us? Su Mengyao, 3 people sleeping together will fight for the covers, and you'll catch a cold easily. When you're older, we'll sleep together again. Mommy, how much longer? Lin Xiaoxi looked hopefully at Su Mengyao. Su Mengyao thought for a moment and replied, You're only 2.5 years old, so when you turn 3 it should be fine. If you gain weight and don't catch colds so often, you can even get up earlier. Lin Xiaoxi sat up quickly. Mom, let's get up quickly then. After breakfast, I'll practice martial arts with Dad. Su Mengyao was surprised. You practice martial arts? Yes, he. Mom, I'll protect you in the future. And Dad? Lin Xiaoxi said in a baby voice. Su Mengyao, you protect me and Dad? Lin Xiaoxi shook her head. Mom, no, Dad is very strong, it's me and Dad protecting you together. Then Mom will wait. Su Mengyao said with a smile. Half an hour later, Lin Xiaoxi finished her breakfast. Dad, let's practice martial arts, I want to become stronger. Lin Chen said in surprise, Cici, you're so motivated today? Cici, you can't tell the secret your mother told you, or else I won't tell you any secrets in the future. Su Mengyao said quickly. Lin Xiaoxi covered her mouth and said, I won't tell. Su Mengyao let out a sigh of relief. Lin Shen looked at Su Mengyao and smiled. Mengyao, there's no need to move so urgently, is there? Why doesn't Cici practice martial arts first? Su Mengyao nodded. Soon, Lin Chen and Lin Xiaoxi started practicing in the living room. Lin Chen practiced in front, and Lin Xiaoxi followed. The movements were definitely not standard, but she was able to follow along and practice a little. 5 minutes passed, and Lin Chen began to gain experience in ancient martial arts Tai Chi. Su Mengyao watched from the side. Surprise appeared in her eyes. Lin Chen used to be very bad at it, and in a short period of time, the Tai Chi he played out actually looked extremely good. There was a special charm in every breath he took and every movement he made. 10 minutes passed and Lin Chen finished playing it. He began to carefully teach Lin Xiaoxi from the beginning. The experience of ancient martial arts Tai Chi flowed into his body unceasingly, and his lower abdomen and meridians also quietly underwent changes. After Lin Chen finished teaching it once, he felt his abdomen warm. System, is this a sense of Qi? Lin Chen asked in his mind. Dear readers, if you like this chapter, please leave a 5-star review, thank you. Chapter 125, Lin Chen encounters Li Lin. The system replied, yes, host. Free energy will appear before internal energy is generated. This energy may appear anywhere and may make your body feel hot, numb, itchy, etc. Lin Chen, there's also numbness and itching? Does it have a big impact? System, they are just free energy, which has little effect on your body, but they can be felt. You can only try to control them if you can feel them, and they can be transformed into internal energy to a certain extent. Lin Chen was relieved. As long as the numbness and itchiness were mild, that was fine. Su Mengyao said with some surprise, honey, Cici is doing quite well with her training. How effective is this exercise? Lin Chen looked at Lin Xiaoxi and said, the effect is very good. As long as you keep practicing, Cici will be able to protect you in the future. Lin Xiaoxi had only simply imitated the movements, so there was not actually a very strong training effect for the time being. But you can't dampen her confidence. The effect will be much better if you adhere to the standard movements over the long term. Mom, I'll protect you from now on. Lin Xiaoxi said sweetly. Su Mengyao crouched down and kissed Lin Xiaoxi. Good, Mom is waiting for Xiaoxi to become very, very good. Lin Xiaoxi hugged Su Mengyao with her little hands. Mom, Dad, and I will protect you, don't cry. When did Mom cry? Lin Chen asked. Did he ever make her feel wronged? Lin Xiaoxian, Dad, Mom cries when she sleeps. Lin Chen looked at Su Mengyao, who said, Cici didn't explain it clearly. It's me. I used to have nightmares at night, and sometimes I would wake up from the dream. Now it basically doesn't happen anymore. Lin Chen nodded slightly, so that's how it was. Su Mengyao said, honey, let's go. Let's finish moving early, so that Xinqing can come for lunch at noon. Lin Chen nodded. Xinqiang is more than welcome to come for dinner. Unlike some women's so-called best friends, who specialize in causing trouble, she tries to matchmake him with Su Mengyao. She is kind of a matchmaker, so what's wrong with occasionally coming for dinner? Dad, where are we going? The three of them went downstairs to the car, and Lin Xiaoqian asked curiously. Lin Chen, didn't we say yesterday that Mom was moving in? We're going to help Mom pack and move. Yay! Lin Xiaoqian said cheerfully. An hour or so later, Lin Chen and the others arrived. Xinqiang was the first to arrive and she was waiting for Lin Chen and the others in the courtyard. Auntie Qingqing. Lin Xiaoqian called in a baby voice. Cici, this is for you. Xinqing gave Lin Xiaoqian a doll. Auntie Qingqing, you're so good. Su Mengyao burst out laughing, Xinqiang. Lin Chen corrected, Qingqing auntie is an adult. She gave you a gift, so you can't describe her as really good. You can say, Qingqing auntie, you're really nice. Dad. Lin Xiaoqian shyly buried her head in Lin Chen's neck. Lin Chen patted her back gently and said, it's okay, Qingqing auntie won't be angry. You're still young, and it's normal to say the wrong thing sometimes. Just say it bravely. Xinqing, Cici, your father is right. You are very smart, and your mother definitely wasn't as smart as you when she was young. Auntie Qingqing, you are so nice. Lin Xiaoqian looked at Xinqiang and said sweetly. Come, Auntie Qingqing will hug you. Xinqiang took Lin Xiaoqian from Lin Chen. A few minutes later, Su Mengyao said, honey, you take Cici out to play. I'm collecting all the things that women use, so Xing can help me. After we're done, you can just help carry it. Lin Chen nodded. He hugged Lin Xiaoxi and went to find some friends in the community. Ha! Lin Chen saw Li Lin. Li Lin wasn't as handsome as he was in his short videos, but to be honest, he was still quite handsome, and Lin Chen still had a certain gap with him in terms of appearance. Cici, we're over here. The crisp voice of Yi sounded. She and Yuan were playing not far from Li Lin. There were some children's play equipment there, while Lin Lin had fitness equipment such as a single bar. Dad, let me down. Lin Xiaoxi said happily. Lin Chen let her down and she quickly ran over. Brother, are you Xiaoxi's father? Lin Lin asked. Yes. Lin Chen nodded. He did not follow Lin Xiaoxi over. Lin Xiaoxi was there with her mother Yi and her mother Yuan. With them watching over her, Lin Xiaoxian would be fine. It wouldn't be appropriate for him, a man, to go over there. Yuan President Su. Li Lin asked tentatively. Lin Chen smiled faintly and said, We got our marriage certificate, but we haven't had the wedding banquet yet. Li Lin frowned inwardly. Houses here are very expensive. His family had a good fortune and earned a lot of money, so he gritted his teeth and made the down payment to buy a villa here. Unfortunately, the market has been bad recently, and house prices have fallen. The down payment of over 10 million he gave to buy the house has already fallen by half. If he could get Su Mangyao, the loss would be nothing. Now Su Mangyao has actually sprung up with a husband. This is embarrassing. Brother, my name is Li Lin. What's your name? Li Lin said with a smile. My name is Lin Chen. Li Lin, Lin Chen, I see that you're a bit skinny. You might need to exercise more. I'm a fitness blogger. Do you want to follow me and exercise? It's free. Lin Chen looked at Li Lin. Li Lin said this, so it seems that he has not given up. Is he planning to get close to him first, and then stab him in the back? Lin Chen smiled faintly and said, I usually do exercise. Li Lin lightly jumped up and grabbed the horizontal bar. Lin Chen, how many pull-ups like this can you do? He said and started doing them. Li Lin was doing wide grip pull-ups. Most ordinary people have difficulty doing 5, and it is very good if they can do 10. Li Lin did about 20. Lin Chen, why don't you try? Li Lin said with a faint smile as he landed. It doesn't look difficult. Lin Chen smiled. Li Lin sneered inwardly, not difficult? Ordinary people can do 8 or 9 reverse grip narrow pull-ups, but many people can't do 3 wide grip forward pull-ups. Lin Chen grabbed the single bar. 1, 2, 3. Li Lin counted for Lin Chen. Soon he couldn't count anymore. Lin Chen easily surpassed him, and in a minute Lin Chen did 50 or 60. He released one hand. Then Lin Chen did 10 one-handed pull-ups with his right hand only. Li Lin was numb. What kind of monster is this? After doing the one-handed pull-ups with his right hand, Lin Chen switched to his left hand and did 10 more. Li Lin, what do you think of my level? I'm not a professional, I don't really know about this. Lin Chen let go of his hand and asked without blushing or panting. Li Lin. What can he say? His major was directly killed by Lin Chen in seconds. Lin Chen, you are very strong, you usually exercise a lot, right? Li Lin took a deep breath and said. Lin Chen looked at Li Lin with a smile. I basically haven't practiced this, I usually practice martial arts. My strength should be slightly stronger than normal. Li Lin. Good guy, you actually practice martial arts. He's not going to get killed for poaching someone else's talent, is he? There's a punching power testing machine over there. Have you tested it? Li Lin asked. Lin Chen shook his head. Li Lin, then why don't you go and test it? He wanted to know just how strong Lin Chen really was. Chapter 126, Li Lin felt numb all over. Lin Chen followed Li Lin to the punching power testing machine. Why is there such a thing? Lin Chen asked with some surprise. Li Lin, the property management fees are quite high every year, and this thing is not expensive. The property management company will try to meet the owner's small requests. It wasn't you who suggested it, was it? I suggested it, but a lot of people like it. Li Lin said. Lin Chen looked at Li Lin and thought that this guy wanted to show off his strength by having the property management company install this thing. How does it work? Lin Chen asked. Li Lin set up his stance and slammed a punch heavily on it, and soon a few numbers appeared on the LCD screen above. 3,842. Satisfaction appeared in Li Lin's eyes. This punch was not bad. This thing is flexible, so feel free to smash it. An average adult male can usually get a little over 2,000 points. You need to practice exerting force if you want to hit a higher number. Li Lin explained. You try. Li Lin stepped aside. He wanted to see how good Lin Xian was. Lin Xian stood in front of the punching power tester and said, his stance was very casual, and he didn't look like someone who had practiced boxing. Pong. The next second, Lin Xian slammed a punch on it. Li Lin's face changed. He could feel that Lin Xian's punch was very strong. The LCD display quickly showed the value. 5,368. Hiss. Li Lin let out a cold breath. He couldn't even reach 4,000 with all his strength, and some of the bodyguards of property owners, even if they are strong, can only reach 4,000 to 5,000. Lin Xian's punch actually reached more than 5,300. If this punch hits a person, wouldn't it knock them flying? Only this much. Lin Xian said, and he took up his stance again. Pong. The punching machine made an even louder sound as it was smashed, and Li Lin looked at the displayed number in disbelief. 7,583. The value has actually exceeded 7,500. What kind of pervert is this? It's a good thing the property management bought this punching machine, otherwise it might have been damaged by Lin Xian's punch. Li Lin, you just randomly tested it, didn't you? Try again. Lin Xian stepped aside and smiled at Li Lin. Li Lin. He didn't just randomly test it, he just used his full strength. The limit he's hit is just over 3,900. Lin Xian's punch was over 7,500, and it was even more powerful than a hammer. No. No need. My level is much lower than yours. Li Lin said with an unnatural expression. He was still thinking about undermining Lin Xian's position, but now in this situation, he had to think carefully about whether to continue. If he succeeded, he might be crippled by Lin Xian's punch. Moreover, judging from Lin Xian's demonstrated strength, it was a big question as to whether he could succeed. Dad, Dad. Lin Xiaoxian shouted over there. Lin Xian smiled and said, Lin, my daughter is calling me, I'll go over there first, you practice slowly. Soon Lin Xian left. After the demonstration just now, Lin should know when to quit. Okay. Lin nodded. His gaze became very clear. Lin Xian left, and Lin looked at the punch power testing machine. This thing won't show an error, right? Pong. He once again used his full strength. 3,826. Li Lin's mouth twitched, a little less than the previous measurement. The machine wasn't broken, it was just that he was bad at it. Lin Xian only threw 2 punches. Maybe that last punch wasn't even his limit. Li Lin thought to himself. He looked over to Lin Xian's side, where Lin Xian had picked up Lin Xiaoxian and kissed her, looking like a harmless stay-at-home dad. Who would have thought that Lin Xian's punching power would be so terrifying? Don't dig at Lin Xian's feet, it's too dangerous. Li Lin muttered to himself. He wanted money, but Lin Xian's fists were deadly. Dad, what were you doing just now? Lin Xiaoxian asked in a baby voice. Lin Xian smiled, that's for adults. Xiaoxian, you kids play on the slides here and stuff. Why are you calling me Dad? Lin Xiaoxian, Dad, it was a really loud noise just now. I was worried about you. Lin Xian rubbed Lin Xiaoxi's little head, it's okay, Dad is very good, you don't have to worry about Dad. You continue to play with Yuan and the others. Lin Xiaoxi and Yuan continued to play. Yi's mother asked curiously, Lin Xian, how many did you just hit? Yi's father hit 2,100, and Li Lin heard that he could hit close to 4,000. I hit 6,700. Lin Xian smiled and laughed. More than 6,000 times and more than 7,000 times at a time, saying that there is nothing wrong with saying that he is 6,000 to 7,000. Although he didn't even exert his full strength the second time, he got more than 7,000. He only used ordinary power techniques. If he used the power techniques of ancient martial arts Tai Chi, the punch power testing machine might be broken by him. His current punch power is much stronger than that of Tyson at his peak. Tyson's peak physical fitness was estimated to be around 180, and his physical fitness is already a lot stronger than Tyson's. 6,000 to 7,000? Yi's mother and the others were shocked. Yu Yuan's mother said, I tried it and it only got a little over 1,000. You don't look strong, but you have so much strength. Lin Chen smiled and said, I practiced martial arts. Yi's mother and Yu Yuan's mother suddenly understood. Inside the villa, Xin Xing helped Su Mengyao gather her things. Ms. Mengyao, let's do an interview. You're about to live with a man, so how are you feeling? Xin Xing asked with a smile. Su Mengyao, you hurry up and find a boyfriend, and then you'll live together too, and you'll know what I'm feeling. Xin Xing, wise people don't fall in love. Su Mengyao looked at her and said unkindly, I don't see how wise you are. If you don't find someone soon, in the future, it won't be wise people who don't fall in love, it'll be old people who don't fall in love. Xin Xing. Mengyao, good Mengyao, please say something. If you don't say anything, how can I, your military advisor, help you analyze the situation? Su Mengyao, what's there to analyze? Xin Xing said in shock, so you guys have already done it? No. Su Mengyao hurriedly said, we just hugged. Xin Xing looked at Su Mengyao in surprise. Su Mengyao has a mental illness, and she has already made great progress by hugging Lin Xian so quickly. You can hug him now? Xin Xing asked. She knew that Su Mengyao had a serious psychological disorder, and hugging was already a very intimate act. Su Mengyao said, my body will tremble, and for now I can only hug for a short time, I can't hug for a long time. Xin Xing nodded slightly, take your time. If you hug a lot, you'll get used to it, and then you'll kiss, and then you'll go to bed. Su Mengyao. If you want to eat lunch, hurry up and pack your things. Xin Xing hurriedly picked up the pace, Mengyao, if I can't finish eating at noon, can I take it home? You don't have to eat leftovers, I'm not that picky. Su Mengyao said in a bad mood, do you have to be like that? Xin Xing nodded seriously. You can remove the word ma. You have a good husband to eat with every day, who else has the conditions you have? I've lost weight recently. Su Mengyao looked up and down, I can't tell. Chapter 127 Su Mengyao moved. Li Lin left, Lin Xiaoxi and Yi played with them, and Lin Chen returned to the place where the punching power testing machine was placed. He wanted to test his current limit. Pong. Lin Chen smashed out a punch with a little control of the strength. The punching power testing machine felt like it had been hit hard by a hammer. 9,852. The value was displayed on the punching power testing machine. This value was much more terrifying than before. The punching machine can only display 4 digits, and any further strength will exceed the limit of this punching machine. I have slightly reduced the strength. So my punching power should now be just over 10,000. Lin Chen muttered to himself. If such a violent force hits a person, the entire body of the opponent is estimated to be smashed away with one punch. I wonder if my weight has changed. Lin Chen stood on a body fat scale next to him. He had weighed about 130 pounds before, and at that time he was 5 feet 11 inches, so his weight was a bit on the light side. His physique had improved, and he was now 5 feet 11 inches. He didn't know his weight, as there was no scale at home. Ha! Lin Chen froze. He couldn't believe it. It said that his weight was close to 160 pounds. His physique hasn't changed much, and like before, he looks a little on the skinny side. Is this scale broken? Lin Chen muttered to himself. The system's voice sounded in his head, Master, although your physique hasn't changed, your weight has increased, and the density of your bones and muscles has increased. System, if my physique continues to improve, will my weight continue to increase? Lin Chen asked in his head. If that's the case, there will be quite a few disadvantages. For example, if he gets too heavy, he will easily hurt Su Mengyao. System, when a certain amount of change causes a qualitative change, the host's weight will not increase anymore. Maintaining the current body type, the limit weight is 100 kilograms. 100 kilograms, that's not bad. Lin Chen muttered to himself. Tyson's weight is about 100 kilograms. As long as he pays attention to this weight, there shouldn't be any problems. Dad. Lin Xiaoxi ran over. She had just heard a loud noise again. Lin Chen picked her up and smiled. Daddy was testing, and look, there's no one here. Daddy's test is over, now I'll tell you a story? Lin Xiaoxian nodded happily. Soon Lin Chen began to tell Lin Xiaoxian and the others a story. Before long, more children gathered nearby to listen. When Lin Chen finished, there were already a dozen or so children nearby. Drip. Lin Chen dialed Su Mengyao phone. Mengyao, how are you getting things ready? Lin Chen asked. Su Mengyao said over the phone, we'll be ready soon, honey, you can come back with Sisai. Okay. Soon Lin Chen and Sisai returned. There was no need for him to carry anything, as the 4 nannies had already helped Su Mengyao put her things into 3 cars. Su Mengyao had originally thought that 2 cars would be enough, but she had underestimated the amount of her things, and it took 3 cars to fit them all. The 3 cars that carried the belongings, except for Lin Chen's, the other 2 were a sports car, Su Mengyao's Porsche 911, and the other was a Rolls-Royce Culinary. There was also a Rolls-Royce Phantom in the garage, but that car was not Su Mengyao's, it belonged to her father. Qingqing, which one are you driving? Su Mengyao asked. Qingqing looked at Su Mengyao's Porsche. I'll drive this one, you won't be as upset about the scratches on this one. The Porsche 911 is much cheaper than the Curio. Whatever you like. Cici, which car are you going to ride in? Su Mengyao asked. Lin Xiaoxi looked at Lin Chen and then at Su Mengyao. Lin Chen's car and the Curio both had car seats. She didn't know what to choose. I'll drive the Curio. That way, Cici, you won't have to choose and it'll be easier for you. Qingqing said with a smile. Su Mengyao, then Cici, you sit in daddy's car, there is no baby seat in mummy's car. Lin Xiaoxi nodded. Sitting in the car, Su Mengyao looked a little dazed. Although the wedding had not yet taken place, starting today, she would officially leave her parents and start a new life. Lin Chen hugged Lin Xiaoxi and walked over to Su Mengyao's car. Wife, come home with me. Lin Chen looked at Su Mengyao and said gently. Su Mengyao nodded gently. Soon the 3 cars left. An hour later, Lin Chen and the others arrived at Ziyuan Community. Ziyuan Community is an upscale community with a high parking space to vehicle ratio. Lin Chen first bought 1 parking space and then bought 2 more later, so there is parking space for all 3 cars. Cici, you have to walk by yourself. Daddy needs to carry something. Lin Chen took Lin Xiaoxi down from the car seat and said. Daddy, I'll help you. I have a lot of strength now. Lin Chen smiled, and he gave Lin Xiaoxi a small bag, then, Xiaoxi, you carry this, but you have to hold it firmly. Dad, I will. Lin Xiaoxi said seriously. Lin Chen took down a lot of the remaining bags, and Su Mengyao and the others came over carrying some things. Qingqing said in surprise, Lin Chen, you're carrying so much? Some of those bags are quite heavy. This is faster. Lin Chen lifted all those bags. These bags together weighed 80 or 90 pounds. An ordinary person would have a hard time carrying so much, but Lin Chen carried them with ease. If it wasn't for the fact that he couldn't carry anymore, he could have carried even more. 10 minutes passed. Lin Chen and the others made 3 trips and brought everything up. Wife, welcome home. Lin Chen gently embraced Su Mengyao and said. Su Mengyao's pretty face turned red. Qingqing and Lin Xiaoxi were both watching them from the side. I'm full. I can't eat anything at noon, said Qingqing, rubbing her stomach. Lin Xiaoxi said in a baby voice, Auntie Qingqing, aren't you going to eat? Dad, then you should make less food. Qingqing. Lin Chen let go of Su Mengyao. If he hugged her for a while longer, she would have turned pale. Cici, Auntie Qingqing suddenly feels hungry again. Qingqing said, pinching Lin Xiaoxi's little face. Lin Xiaoxi looked at Qingqing with confusion. Adults are really strange. Lin Chen laughed and said, honey, you go pack your things, I'll cook. Cici, you play with Auntie Qingqing for a while. Okay. Su Mengyao nodded. She would pack her own things. Qingqing didn't know where to find help after she helped her. Auntie Qingqing, let's go draw. Lin Xiaoxi giggled. A few minutes later, Qingqing's eyes revealed a shocked expression. Lin Xiaoxi used to draw well, and now she draws even better. Is this what a genius looks like? Qingqing muttered to herself. She felt like she was just filling out the numbers in this world. Half an hour later, Lin Xiaoxi finished a drawing. Auntie Qingqing, do you think I drew it well? Lin Xiaoxi asked. Qingqing nodded, yes, very well. She really didn't know how to comment other than saying it was good. Her skill is inferior to others. Chapter 128. Hello, Mr. Lin. Lin Xian finished cooking, and Su Mengyao took out 2 bottles of wine. 1 bottle of white wine and 1 bottle of red wine. Lin Xian said with a strange look, "Mengyao, you also brought wine from home? No wonder some of the bags were so heavy." Su Mengyao said, "I brought 20 or 30 bottles. If your father comes over, you can drink with them." Xinsheng looked at the 2 bottles of wine and said, "Mengyao, this isn't cheap, is it? This is the wine in Uncle Su's #1 wine cabinet. I've seen this bottle before and remember it." Su Mengyao had taken her on a tour of the Su family's wine cellar. "I'm not sure of the exact price, but those 20 or 30 bottles should be worth more than 1,000,000 yuan. Lin Xian laughed to himself. It seems that the little cotton padded jacket has some air leakage due to her genetic heritage. I hope Uncle Su won't be angry. Lin Xian asked. Su Mengyao shook her head, "Not really. My father likes to drink a little, but he's not an alcoholic, and he has a lot of good wine in his wine cellar. Lin Xian, I don't have a wine cooler here, so can I bring those wines over?" Su Mengyao said, "Collecting requires a constant temperature and humidity, which is not necessary if you're going to drink them yourself in the future." Lin Xian nodded. He quickly opened 2 bottles of wine. Xinsheng smiled and said, "Pour some wine and have a toast. I'll take a photo of you." Su Mengyao's face turned slightly red. She looked at Lin Xian and said, "Hubby, we won't drink the wine from the toast. We'll save it for later. But let's clink glasses and let Xinsheng take a photo of us." "Okay." Lin Xian nodded. "Xinsheng, take some photos of us." Su Mengyao handed her her phone. "Okay." Lin Xian and Su Mengyao raised their glasses. Xinsheng quickly took a photo of them, with both of them and the food on the table in the frame. "Mommy and Daddy, I want some too," Lin Xiaoxian said anxiously from the side. "Don't worry, how could we forget about our Qianqian?" Lin Xian picked Lin Xiaoxian up in his arms. Su Mengyao went to the other side of Lin Xian's body. "Hubby, you hug me," Su Mengyao whispered. Lin Xian held his daughter Lin Xiaoxian in his left arm, and gently put his right arm around Su Mengyao's waist. He was beaming from ear to ear. Su Mengyao's face showed signs of shyness. Lin Xiaoxian was smiling sweetly. "Ka-cha." Xinsheng quickly captured this scene. She had learned photography and her level of skill was quite good. "Mengyao, I admit I'm jealous. Looks like I really need to find a boyfriend, otherwise you guys are going to keep stuffing dog food in my mouth," Xinsheng said with a sigh. She envied Lin Xian's family. "Su Mengyao, eat quickly, you'll feel better after eating some vegetables." Xinsheng handed her phone to Su Mengyao. "I won't be polite then." Xinsheng started eating immediately. Su Mengyao sent a WeChat moment first with her phone. "Hello, Mr. Lin." The text was only 6 simple words. There were 2 photos. One photo was of a toast, and the other was of Lin Xian holding Lin Xiaoxi and putting his arm around her. Su Mengyao had many friends on WeChat, and soon someone saw the circle of friends she had posted. "Old classmate, when did you get married? Congratulations, Su. Who is that man? You must be so happy." Likes and comments kept popping up. Su Mengyao usually didn't post much in her circle of friends, and she didn't realize that posting one piece of information could be such explosive news. Shit. It wasn't long before Zhao Tianyou was alerted by someone else, and he also saw Su Mengyao's post. Su Mengyao hated Zhao Tianyou, but because of the relationship between the 2 families, they still added each other on WeChat. Drip. Zhao Tianyou called his father Zhao Huayuan. "What's the matter?" Zhao Huayuan asked when he answered the phone. He was at home today on Sunday, while Zhao Tianyou was out partying. "Dad," Su Mengyao posted a status update. Zhao Huayuan's heart leapt. She's publicly announced her relationship with Lin Xian in her circle of friends? More or less. "Zhao Huayuan, come back first, we'll talk when you get back." After hanging up, Zhao Huayuan clicked on the circle of friends. He was the company's vice president, and Su Mengyao was now the company president, so naturally he had Su Mengyao's WeChat. It's not just that they got a marriage license. Su Mengyao and Lin Xian have already developed feelings for each other. Zhao Huayuan thought to himself. He knew Su Mengyao well, and Su Mengyao and Lin Xian were definitely in a relationship, otherwise Lin Xian would not be able to put his arm around her waist. There is no hope for my son and Su Mengyao. Zhao Huayuan's eyes flashed with brilliance. If Su Mengyao and Lin Xian were not in a relationship, there would still be hope for his son and Su Mengyao to get together, as they had known each other for many years, but now it was definitely impossible. Since Su Mengyao posted this in her circle of friends, she has recognized Lin Chen, and there is no way to bring her back even if you pull her back 10 times.
Dad. Zhao Tianyou hurriedly rushed back. What should I do next? Zhao Huayuan took a puff of smoke and said, you can give up. You and Mengyao no longer have any possibility. Dad, but. Zhao Huayuan raised his hand, no buts. You should also know a little about Su Mengyao's personality.
Since she has recognized him, it is very difficult for her to turn back. Zhao Tianyou said, Dad, Uncle Su and the others will be back soon.
Can we make one last effort? She and I are the perfect match. Lin Chen is only good at playing basketball. What makes him qualified? Zhao Tianyou was very unhappy.
He not only wanted Su's money, but also Su Mengyao herself. Su Mengyao was extremely beautiful.
Even if we find Mengyao parents, it's probably not going to work. Zhao Huayuan said.
Zhao Tianyou, Dad, you and Uncle Su used to be very close, so you and Uncle Su should have a good talk.
What kind of person is Lin Chen? Is he worthy of being with Mengyao?
Zhao Huayuan thought for a while and said, you and I will go together. Your Aunt Yang has been sick for so long, and you should go see her when she returns.
Okay. Zhao Tianyou nodded. Lin Chen and the others. Xinshang, is the food not to your liking today?
Lin Chen said with a little confusion.
Xinshang ate much less today than before.
Xinshang shook her head. Su Mengyao said with a strange expression, she used to overeat, but she didn't overeat today because she planned to take some food home.
Ha! There's no need for that. Xinshang, if you want to eat, you can come over and eat. Lin Chen said.
Xinshang said, the food here is delicious, but the dog food is not.
I'd rather take some home and eat it for 2 more meals.
Lin Chen looked at Su Mengyao. Su Mengyao said, let her pack it if she wants to. I feel bad about throwing away such delicious food. Today was Su Mengyao's first day moving in, and there were only 3 adults, but Lin Chen had made 6 dishes. Su Mengyao and Xinsheng didn't eat much, so there was a lot of food left over.
Lin Chen, you and Mengyao go out and be romantic. I'll pack it up and clean up.
Later, she is going to sleep, and then I'll put her to bed.
Xinsheng said. Lin Chen looked at Lin Xiaoxi. Cici, can you and Auntie Qingqing stay at home while your mom and dad go out? Lin Xiaoxi nodded. Lin Chen and Su Mengyao quickly left the house. Mengyao, shall we go watch a movie?
Su Mengyao's eyes revealed a look of expectation, and she nodded, sure, I haven't watched a movie in a long time.
Chapter 129, It's good to have you for the rest of my life. Lin Chen and Su Mengyao both drank wine, and Liang Yi drove.
Su Mengyao took out her phone and opened her circle of friends. She received a large number of likes and replies to the messages she posted in her circle of friends.
Goddess, who is this man? I want to duel with him. Mengyao, when are you going to bring him to the house to have a look? Blessings to the president and brother Lin. Su Mengyao looked at each one of them, looking a little shy.
Lin Chen looked at Su Mengyao and whispered in her ear, Mengyao, what are you looking at?
Why are you blushing? You're not browsing an unhealthy website, are you?
Su Mengyao glanced at Lin Chen and said coquettishly, who looks at that kind of thing?
I'm looking at the circle of friends I posted. What did you post? Lin Chen hadn't seen it yet.
The red light was still blinking for a few seconds, but Lin Chen took out his phone and opened the Moments app.
He quickly saw the message. Hello, Mr. Lin. Su Mengyao's text and accompanying photo made his heart warm.
He had publicly appeared as Su Mengyao's husband, but only some people in her company knew about it, and there were also people who attended her Aunt Liang's birthday banquet who knew about it. Now she had posted it in her Moments, announcing it to the world, and everyone in her WeChat Moments could see the message.
Hello, wife.
Lin Chen looked at Su Mengyao and said softly, hello, my dear.
Honey, Liang Ye is here. Su Mengyao's face flushed slightly and she looked coy. Liang Ye in the front row said, Boss, I'm a professional.
She said this and turned up the music a lot.
Mengyao, you've already made the news public, can I also make public the news that we're together now? Lin Chen asked with a smile.
Su Mengyao, don't post that photo of Sisai yet. My family and friends know I have Sisai, but your family and friends don't yet. You need to explain if you post it.
Lin Chen nodded. Okay, let's just say we've just started dating. Su Mengyao gave a soft 10 minutes later, Lin Chen and the others arrived at the cinema.
Su Mengyao had already bought the movie tickets on the way, and after collecting them, Lin Chen went to buy a large bucket of popcorn.
Let's take a selfie.
Lin Chen smiled. Holding a popcorn, Su Mengyao, with Lin Chen's left arm around her and his right hand holding his phone, took a selfie. There were quite a few other men around. Some of them were envious.
How come other people's girlfriends are so pretty and cute? It's good to have you for the rest of my life. Lin Chen quickly posted a status update on WeChat.
He also posted 2 photos, one of them was a photo of them toasting, and the other was the selfie they just took.
Let me see. Su Mengyao took Lin Chen's phone.
Seeing what Lin Chen had posted, she gave a sweet smile.
At this time, where did she look like the CEO?
Lin Chen, your parents will probably see the news soon.
Su Mengyao whispered. Lin Chen, they won't mind.
You've already received the red envelope, so you're already our daughter-in-law. Su Mengyao said coquettishly, what I mean is that you have to remind them that they shouldn't rush the construction of the house, and that they shouldn't worry about the wedding banquet being too soon.
Lin Chen nodded. Let's wait until they call. Not long after, Lin Chen and the others entered the cinema.
Holy shit, Lin Chen has found a girlfriend, and she's a beauty. Someone posted a message in Lin Chen's high school WeChat group.
Where's the picture?
Yeah, post the picture. Someone soon urged.
Their gossiping spirits were already burning.
Here's the picture. The person who had originally sent the message quickly re-sent the picture. Holy shit. Lin Chen has quietly come up with a killer move. Like Lin Chen, he needs to come out and give out red envelopes.
The group quickly exploded. Su Mengyao was extremely attractive, and in their impression, Lin Chen was ordinary and had always been an invisible person in the class. How did he suddenly marry a beautiful and wealthy woman?
Many people could tell at a glance that she was beautiful, but as for wealthy, Su Mengyao's necklace around her neck could not have been bought for less than several 100,000 yuan. And her temperament definitely gave no doubt that she was a rich girl.
It's quite empty. Lin Chen and Su Mengyao arrived at the cinema.
Nowadays, the film and television industry is also in the midst of a cold winter.
There will be more people in the evening, but very few people watch movies in the daytime. Su Mengyao chose a romantic movie. Couples sat together in pairs.
Lin Chen and Su Mengyao arrived at their seats. He reached out and took Su Mengyao's hand. Su Mengyao's hand was quite a bit smaller than his, and it was soft. Lin Chen, have you ever watched a movie with another girl?
Lin Chen shook his head, no. Didn't your father investigate my situation very thoroughly?
I was a nobody in junior high school, and college, just average.
Su Mengyao. My father investigated me and found out that I was lonely. You're the one who hides the deepest of all.
Lin Chen said with a smile, I only understand a little bit.
Mengyao, your parents will be back the day after tomorrow. Can I go pick them up alone? Su Mengyao looked at Lin Chen doubtfully. You'll go pick them up?
Lin Chen said, my medical skills have improved a bit.
If anything happens to your mom on the way, I might be able to help. Besides, I also know a lot about that plane.
Shishi, it's too much for you to go with me.
It's fine if I go alone. Su Mengyao thought about the plane accident last time. You'll have a hard time.
Lin Chen smiled, what's hard about taking a private jet?
I'd better go and pick her up.
I'm still a little worried about your mother's condition.
Honey, thank you.
Su Mengyao said softly.
Then kiss me? Su Mengyao blushed and said, we can kiss later. The movie is about to start, let's not talk and just watch it. Before they knew it, the movie was over. Lin Chen wasn't really sure what the movie was about.
He only knew that Su Mengyao's small hands felt very comfortable to hold. In the middle, Su Mengyao's head rested on his shoulder for a while, and the faint fragrance from Su Mengyao was very pleasant.
Wow, so much news.
Lin Chen took out his phone and looked at it, stunned. There were quite a few private messages for him. He clicked on the circle of friends, and there were even more likes and comments. There were also several missed calls.
He had muted the phone while watching the movie and didn't hear it.
Soon Lin Chen and the others arrived at the car, and Liang Yi drove.
Hubby, you go ahead and deal with the WeChat messages, I'll reply to a few as well.
Su Mengyao said, and Lin Chen nodded. Lin Chen replied to all the messages in the circle of friends, and he also replied to the private messages, depending on the relationship. Lin Xian, come out and send out red envelopes.
Someone tagged him in the high school group.
Lin Xian clicked into the group, and there were hundreds of group messages. There were dozens of people in the group, and he sent a big red envelope containing 1,000 yuan, so each person could grab 20 to 30 yuan.
Boss, you're so generous.
Lin Xian, congratulations.
Lin Xian, congratulations, when are you getting married? Everyone in the group sent their blessings.
Lin Xian had read a lot of novels, and in most of them, classmates had a terrible relationship, needing up to show off and slap each other in the face. He had never encountered such a situation. His high school classmates were still quite nice.
I'll have to wait a bit longer before I get married. I'll let you know.
Lin Xian messaged in the group.
Lin Gu, your wife looks a bit like someone. Someone messaged. Lin Xian didn't say anything, but someone else asked, who does she look like?
She looks like the president of the Su Group.
Chapter 130, I'll show you a magic trick. As the president of the Su Group, Su Mengyao has some photos online.
Because of her extremely high appearance value, there are quite a few people who have been impressed after seeing her photos.
I've looked it up, and it really does look like Su Mengyao, the president of the Su Group. Is it possible that they're the same person? I don't think so.
The Su family has tens of billions of assets.
Su Mengyao has the title of Iceberg Beauty President online. Lin Ji's girlfriend doesn't look like an iceberg president at all.
The group of people in the group gossiped about it. Lin Xian turned his head and smiled at Su Mengyao. Wife, some of my classmates said you look like the president of the Su Group.
Su Mengyao. How could it not look like her? She is the one.
What did you say?
Lin Xian, I didn't say anything, let them guess.
Just now when we were watching a movie, my mom called me, I'm going to call her back.
Su Mengyao nodded shyly.
Lin Xian dialed his mother Chen Mei's video call.
Mom, you called me, what's up? Lin Xian laughed. We saw the moments you and Mengyao posted. What's going on? Hey, what are you doing driving and using the video call?
Lin Xian swept the camera over the front seat. I'm not driving.
Mengyao moved in with me today. We just posted a moment to record it. Su Mengyao blushed. Auntie. Chen Mei's eyes lit up. Mengyao, this is a good idea.
This way, Cici can see her parents every day.
Yes. Su Mengyao nodded. Auntie, don't rush building the house. Please don't let anything else happen. Just spend a little more and let the professionals handle it.
Chen Mei nodded with a smile.
We know.
Your uncle Lin has a broken hand and is being very obedient now. Lin Xian turned his phone towards himself and said, Mom, you have to listen to Mengyao on this.
If there are any more problems, our marriage will definitely be affected. Chen Mei nodded solemnly.
Her son was rich, so spending a little more money was no big deal, but getting hurt again and affecting Lin Xian's marriage was a big deal.
Where's Dad? Lin Xian asked. Chen Mei said, your father went for a walk in the village.
Don't worry, I won't let him get near the house under construction again.
After chatting for a while, Lin Xian hung up the video call. Su Mengyao let out a sigh of relief.
Although she had already met Lin Xian's parents, she still felt a little nervous when she had a video call with them.
Mengyao, let me show you a magic trick.
Lin Xian said with a smile as they arrived at the entrance to his house.
Su Mengyao looked at Lin Xian.
Suddenly, a large bouquet of roses appeared in Lin Xian's hands.
Su Mengyao looked at Lin Xian in surprise. For you.
Lin Xian said with a smile.
Su Mengyao took the roses, which were real. Honey, how did you make these appear?
Su Mengyao said in disbelief. Lin Xian said, if I tell you the magic trick, it will be no longer a surprise.
I won't tell you, so I can still give you surprises in the future.
He took the roses out of his system space. His system space was 1,000 cubic meters. It hadn't grown over time, but he didn't use it much either. The 1,000 cubic meters of system space now contained less than 10 cubic meters of stuff.
Keep it a secret, then. Su Mengyao didn't ask any more questions.
Lin Xian was her husband, and Lin Xian loved her and their daughter, and that was enough.
Soon the two opened the door and went in. Xinxing said with a sigh, you two, after you go out, you're going to stuff my face with dog food again, isn't that a bit too much?
She had Lin Xian's WeChat. She saw the moments Su Mengyao posted first, and then she saw the moments Lin Xian posted, and she was shown off. Su Mengyao said, when you find a boyfriend, try to show him off as much as possible. Shen Xing pursed her lips. It's easy to find a boyfriend, but it's hard to find one as outstanding as Lin Chen. Will she be able to show off to Su Mengyao when the time comes? She's afraid she won't be able to get back at him for all the dog food he's fed her. Lin Chen smiled and said, has she not woken up yet? Shen Xing nodded, she slept in a bit late today. Judging by her usual sleeping time, she'll probably sleep for another half hour. I'll leave first. Holding the packed food, she quickly slipped away. If she stayed any longer, she was sure to be stuffed with dog food. Gradually, it got to be evening. Lin Chen and his family of 3 were eating dinner, and Yang Qingyue, who was in the United States, woke up and received a lot of messages on WeChat. Ha! Yang Qingyue was a little puzzled. Usually, she would get messages too, but not nearly as many as these. She clicked on one of the messages and soon understood. She didn't rush to read the other messages, but clicked on her moments first. Yang Qingyue had Lin Chen's WeChat. She saw the WeChat moment message Lin Chen had posted first. One of the pictures showed Lin Chen holding Su Mengyao as they watched a movie. They've announced their relationship, Yang Qingyue said with a smile. Soon after, she saw another WeChat moment posted by Su Mengyao. One of the pictures was the same as the one Lin Chen had posted, but the other was different. In the other picture, Lin Chen was holding Lin Xiaoxi. Drip! Yang Qingyue called Su Guofeng. Su Guofeng was woken up by her phone call. Honey, what's wrong? Su Guofeng asked, answering the phone. Yang Qingyue said, quickly check your moments. Su Guofeng hung up the phone and opened WeChat. He had received a lot of messages too, but he didn't read them. He clicked on moments first, and soon he saw the message sent by Lin Chen. Looking at the intimate photo of Lin Chen and Su Mengyao, Su Guofeng's face broke into a smile. Many fathers would feel mixed emotions when their little cabbage was taken away, but Su Mengyao's situation was special. He was very happy that she was able to come out and be happy. Scrolling down further, Su Guofeng saw the moments his daughter had posted. Wife, this is quite good. Su Guofeng messaged Yang Qingyue. Yes, it's quite good. My daughter has come a long way. Su Guofeng's face revealed a faint smile. He quickly read other messages. Ha! Su Guofeng's brows furrowed slightly. Zhao Huayuan had sent him a message and said that they would visit when they returned. Given his past friendship with Zhao Huayuan didn't need to be so polite as to just go directly to his house. But Zhao Huayuan said it very formally. This visit seems to be extraordinary. Su Guofeng thought to himself. It was likely that Zhao Huayuan and the others had also heard the news. 10 minutes later, Su Guofeng arrived at the hospital. Yang Qingyue dialed Su Mengyao's video call. Dad, Mom, grandparents. Su Mengyao and Lin Xiaoxi called out first. Then Su Mengyao turned the camera towards Lin Chen. Uncle Su, Auntie Yang. Lin Chen smiled. Su Guofeng, Lin Chen, we saw the moments you posted on WeChat. I hope you can go on together. Lin Chen said seriously, we will. Su Guofeng suddenly froze. Lin Chen, that bottle in front of you looks familiar to me. He was familiar with all the fine wines in his #1 wine cabinet. This looked like one of them. It was over 50 years old and cost over 300,000 yuan. Lin Chen coughed lightly. Uncle Su, you should ask Mengyao about this. Su Mengyao turned the camera towards herself. Dad, it's just familiar. I took some wine from your wine cabinet. Su Guofeng. How much did you take? 20 or 30 bottles. Su Guofeng was dumbfounded. There were only 20 or 30 bottles in his wine cabinet. Chapter 131, Su Guofeng has disappeared? Su Guofeng looked at Su Mengyao in the video. He said with a sigh, Mengyao, you've changed. You're no longer mommy and daddy's little cotton padded jacket, you're still Sisai. Su Mengyao. Yang Qingyue next to him said with a bad temper, okay, stop pretending, it's just 20 or 30 bottles of wine. Lin Chen, don't get me wrong, Lao Su isn't reluctant to part with those wines. Auntie Yang, I know. Lin Chen said. 20 or 30 bottles of wine, even if they are worth 100,000 yuan each, is still quite a lot. In total, it is only worth a couple of million yuan. What is a little money like this to Su Guofeng, who has a net worth of tens of billions of yuan?
Uncle Su, Mengyao is not bringing them over for me to drink alone. When you come over, I will get some snacks, and we can drink together. Lin Chen explained. Lin Xiaoxi's concerned voice sounded, Grandpa, are you going to cry? Su Guofeng coughed lightly. No, how could Grandpa cry? Grandpa was just feeling a little emotion.
Su Mengyao said unkindly, Dad, don't feel emotion, you haven't even drunk a bottle of wine all year.
Lin Chen is flying over tomorrow. He'll pick you up. Su Guofeng said in surprise, Lin Chen is coming?
We already said we'll fly back ourselves.
You don't need to pick us up.
Su Mengyao, Lin Chen's medical skills have improved, so if there is a situation on the way, he might be able to handle it. He also knows a lot about our plane now.
What do you mean by a lot?
Lin Chen smiled and said, Mengyao copied the maintenance manual for that plane for me, and I've already finished reading it.
If there is a small problem, I might be able to handle it. Su Guofeng looked at Lin Chen in disbelief.
An aircraft maintenance manual is not a manual for maintaining ordinary electrical appliances.
It is a thick book. Su Guofeng opened it and looked at the dense words inside.
It is not easy to read the maintenance manual, and it is even more difficult to understand them all.
Dad, are you going to take a plane? I'm also going to take a plane to pick up my grandparents. Lin Xiaoxi said in a baby voice. Lin Chen, Shishi, this time only Daddy is going.
Daddy will be back soon after arriving there, and you will get very tired on the plane as you will spend a lot of time on the way.
Daddy, I'm not afraid. I have a lot of strength.
Lin Chen looked at Su Mengyao. Su Mengyao said, Shishi, if Daddy leaves and so do you, then Mom should move back to live.
Mom will be very scared if she lives here alone.
Lin Xiaoxi was suddenly torn. She wanted to go with Lin Chen to pick up her grandparents.
She also wanted to stay with Su Mengyao and didn't want her to move back. Cici, you stay here and protect Mommy. Daddy will go protect Grandma and Grandpa.
We'll divide the work.
Okay?
Lin Chen stroked Lin Xiaoxi's head and said.
Lin Xiaoxi nodded. After chatting for a while, Yang Qingyue hung up the video call. Time passed quickly and it was the next day.
Lin Chen went there today, and tomorrow he would rest in the United States.
The day after tomorrow, he would come back with Su Guofeng and Yang Qingyue. Hubby, be careful. Su Mengyao said.
Liang Yi drove the car, and she and Lin Xiaoxian saw Lin Chen off at the airport.
Daddy, I love you. You have to come back quickly.
Lin Xiaoxian put her arms around Lin Chen's neck and said unwillingly.
Lin Chen kissed Lin Xiaoxian, Daddy will come back soon.
Xiaoxian, you have to listen to Mommy at home.
Lin Xiaoxian nodded obediently. Daddy, you kiss Mommy too, Mommy loves you too.
Lin Chen looked at Su Mengyao.
Su Mengyao blushed and said, adults can't just kiss each other outside, Mommy and Daddy can just hug.
After saying that, she took the initiative to hug Lin Chen. Lin Chen looked at Su Mengyao, who was close at hand, and he had an urge to kiss her, but he had to hold back.
Rushing things could be counterproductive. Wife, you'll have a hard time these next 3 days. Su Mengyao shook her head, it's not hard at all.
It's only 3 days, and I'll be much more relaxed when my parents get back. Except for the most important tasks, the rest of the work can wait for 3 days until Su Guofeng gets back.
Let's go. Wait for me.
Lin Chen finished and handed Lin Xiaoxi, who was in his arms, to Su Mengyao. Soon Lin Chen boarded the plane.
It was hot, and Su Mengyao and the others left quickly.
More than 10 hours passed. Lin Chen's plane arrived over the United States, but it had not yet landed, and it would be another 2 to 3 hours.
Drip. Lin Chen's phone rang.
This was his private jet, so he could make phone calls and surf the internet.
Ha!
Lin Chen frowned slightly.
The call was from Su Mengyao.
He had left in the morning and had been gone for more than 10 hours.
It was now 2 or 3 in the morning in China, so why wasn't Su Mengyao asleep? Mengyao, what's wrong? Lin Chen quickly answered the phone and asked.
At the other end of the line, Su Mengyao said anxiously, Honey, my father's gone missing. My mom called me, and she hasn't been able to get in touch with my father for a few hours now. Lin Chen's face changed slightly.
He said reassuringly, it's only been a few hours, so I think he's probably fine. Su Mengyao said, my father didn't go to the hospital today.
Normally, he would have been there by 9 o'clock at the latest. Even if he hadn't gone, he would have called my mom to let her know what was going on.
He never showed up at the hospital today, and his phone is turned off. The bodyguards couldn't find him either. Lin Chen looked grave. In this situation, the father-in-law is probably in trouble. Meng Yao, calm down for a while. Your father is definitely alive and well. Even if your father has been kidnapped, the kidnappers won't just kill him. If they kill him, they won't go through all the trouble. Lin Chen analyzed. Su Mengyao took a deep breath. That's right. Lin Chen, I remember that your parents had a professional security team protecting them. The bodyguards didn't notice anything unusual? Su Mengyao let out a bitter laugh on the other end of the line. My mom said the contract expired the day before yesterday. There was originally a complete security team, but the contract was only renewed for 6 months, and it was only a few days before it expired. My parents only have the 2 bodyguards they brought with them. Lin Chen. Why save this little money? Su Mengyao, it's not really a little money. A complete security team costs $3 million for 6 months. My father negotiated with them to sign for 1 month, but they refused. Signing for 6 months is like getting ripped off, and my father is not happy about it. Lin Chen thoughtfully said. Could it be related to the security company? Meng Yao, do you think there will be a problem with your mother? Su Mengyao said, my mother should be fine. She is in the hospital, and the hospital has very powerful backing. Going to the hospital and targeting their patients is a big taboo. Lin Chen said, Meng Yao, don't worry. I will find your father. Su Mengyao hurriedly said, honey, I'm calling you not to find, but to tell you not to find. If I can't get in touch with you after a while, my mom will re-sign a contract with Black Shield, and they will find you. You can't have anything happen to you while dad is missing. Lin Chen comforted, don't worry, I'll be fine. Just be careful yourself, and don't let anything happen to you and Cece. Chapter 132, Selina's Help. After hanging up the phone, Lin Chen dialed a number. This was a number he had never dialed before. Who is this? It didn't take long for the phone to connect. A woman on the other end of the line asked in English. Miss Selina, this is Lin Chen. Do you remember me? Selina's eyes lit up at the other end of the line. Of course she remembered Lin Chen. Lin Chen had saved her life. Mr. Lin, so it is you. Do you need my help somewhere? You saved my life, I owe you a favor. Selina hurriedly said. Lin Chen, my father-in-law went missing today, and I need your help. Mr. Lin, can you provide more information? This way we can find Mr. Su faster. Lin Chen said, he has been out of contact for a few hours, his phone is turned off and I can't get in touch with him, and no one has called. The day before yesterday, my father-in-law's security contract with Black Shield expired. They asked for a minimum of 6 months, and my father-in-law and his family returned to China soon after, so they didn't renew it. Serena, I see. Our family has connections at Black Shield. I'll ask if they're causing trouble. Mr. Lin, I'll find out as soon as possible. After hanging up the phone, Serena immediately got to work. She now had control of most of the family's power. More than 2 hours passed before Lin Chen's plane landed. 3 cars were waiting for Lin Chen at the airport. Lin Chen got off the plane and saw Selina. Miss Selina, is there a result? Lin Chen asked. Selina nodded. Mr. Lin, let's talk in the car. Lin Chen and the others got into an extended limousine, with 2 cars in front and behind protecting them, and the 3 cars quickly left the airport. Miss Selina, what's the situation? Lin Chen said sternly. Selina, Mr. Lin, the situation is a bit different from what you think. Mr. Su was arrested for suspected prostitution. What? Lin Chen shook his head. This is impossible. My mother-in-law is sick, and my father-in-law's company doesn't care about it. He has been here with her the whole time. How could he possibly go to a prostitute? Selina, according to your country's way of saying it, it might be a swindler. The other party is claiming $20 million, otherwise they will make a big deal out of it and sue Mr. Su. Lin Chen pondered. Why haven't they let my father-in-law call? Selina said after a moment of silence, there is no evidence to suggest that Black Shield is involved in this matter, but there is also no evidence to suggest that they are not involved. Do you understand what I mean? Lin Chen nodded slightly. Black Shield might have had a hand in this. If he hadn't contacted Selina, Yang Qingyue would probably have signed another security contract with Black Shield. Once the contract was signed, $3 million would be gone. The follow-up investigation will definitely not be related to Black Shield.
Mr. Lin, it is possible that someone in your country wants to target Mr. Su.
Smearing him is just the beginning. Lin Chen nodded, I understand. Miss Salina, can you let my father-in-law out?
Come out clean, not with a criminal record. Salina considered for a moment and said, it should be possible, but it requires finding the forces to act, and also smoothing out police relations. It's not that easy.
Lin Chen, is my favor enough? Enough.
I'll help you repay your favor.
But are you sure you want to use it on Mr. Su?
The favor I owe you is still quite valuable,
said Salina. Sure. Lin Chen nodded.
The Dawson family has assets worth tens of billions of US dollars and has a lot of power, so the value of Salina's favor is indeed not cheap.
But this favor will be used once and for all. Okay. Let's go directly to the police station, said Salina.
More than an hour later, Lin Chen and the others arrived at the police station.
Lin Chen met Su Guofeng.
He also met the woman who slandered Su Guofeng.
This woman still had an oriental face. Here to get reinforcements?
You won't get off lightly without 20 million.
I'm telling you, I'm an American, protected by American law, the woman said arrogantly. Su Guofeng smiled bitterly, Lin Chen, I have nothing to do with her. Lin Chen nodded and looked at Salina.
Salina said in English, you are backed by the Red Hand Gang. I have negotiated with the Red Hand Gang, and they have given up on you.
You now have two choices.
First, you can honestly admit to the crime of slander and serve a few years in prison.
Second, you can perhaps only go to hell to repent.
The woman's face changed.
How did Salina know that she was backed by the Red Hand Gang? Salina made a phone call.
When the call was connected, she handed the phone to the woman.
Listen to her. Otherwise you will die.
A low voice came from the other end of the phone.
The Dawson family is much more powerful than the Red Hand Gang. I plead guilty. The woman's face fell. The rest was simple, Su Guofeng was acquitted. Salina followed them out of the police station. Mr. Lin, we are even. Sarina smiled. Just then, Lin Chen quickly pushed Sarina. Bang! A bullet came.
If Lin Chen hadn't pushed her, Sarina would have been killed.
There's a sniper.
Quick, protect the lady.
Sarina's bodyguards also reacted quickly.
Some of them shot in the direction of the sniper, while some immediately took Sarina and hid behind the car.
Lin Chen and Su Guofeng also crouched down and hid.
The gunman did not shoot again. As soon as he missed his shot, he immediately packed up and fled. After confirming that it was safe, Lin Chen and the others stood up.
Salina looked at the bullet hole left by the killer.
If Lin Chen had not pushed her, she would definitely be dead. Mr. Lin, I still owe you a debt of gratitude for saving my life,
Salina said helplessly. You were helping and something went wrong, so that doesn't count. You don't owe me anything. Sarina shook her head. It wasn't the bloody hands, they don't have the guts.
It should have been some of my old enemies taking advantage of the situation.
I still owe you a favor.
I'll go first. You guys be careful.
Sarina quickly left in a car. Lin Chen said to Su Guofeng, Uncle Su, are you okay? I'm fine. Su Guofeng shook his head.
The Su family has developed to this point, and he has seen people weathering big storms. It's just that previous enemies weren't so shameless and straightforward.
Uncle Su, why don't you call Auntie Yang, and I'll call Meng Yao?
They're still worried,
Lin Chen said. Su Guofeng nodded, forget about what just happened. Okay. Lin Chen quickly dialed Su Mengyao's phone. Mengyao, it's okay, Uncle Su is out of the police station. Su Mengyao in China was relieved. Honey, thank you.
Lin Chen had already told her to ask Salina for help.
Mengyao, you be careful, Lin Chen reminded her.
Su Mengyao said, don't worry, honey, I'll be careful.
The security situation in China is much better than abroad.
Lin Chen hung up after a few words. This was not a good place to make long phone calls. Half an hour later, Lin Chen and the others arrived at the hospital.
Yang Qingyue's worried heart finally completely let go. Honey, I didn't do anything,
Su Guofeng said to Yang Qingyue. Yang Qingyue said in a bad mood, you're a few decades old, can you be more careful? And Linson has to expend his personal connections to help you. Many people have fallen into the hands of women, so you should be more careful. Su Guofeng said with a bitter smile. I thought a compatriot was in trouble and wanted to help. As a result, Lin Chen asked, Uncle Su, who do you think is behind this? The one who carried it out was the Blood Hand Gang. But there may be other forces behind it. It is hard to say if it is related to Black Shield Company, but there is definitely a force in the country that is secretly stirring up trouble. P.S. Brothers, I mainly write about daily life, a little pressure is to help the protagonist grow. Chapter 133 Give Lin Chen shares? Su Guofeng shook his head, it's hard to say who is behind the trouble. There are not just one or two families that want to embezzle our Su family. The market is like a battlefield. Yang Qingyue said, Husband, it's a good thing you have Lin Xiaolin to help you, otherwise you would have probably lost a layer of skin this time. Even if you give $20,000, you will still be unable to get away with it. Su Guofeng nodded. If you pay, it will be shit either way, and some international capital will probably use this to manipulate me. Some people's methods are too dirty. Yang Qingyue sighed lightly, the main reason is that our current strength cannot bear the current wealth. Su Guofeng nodded. If Yang Qingyue's father had not died, this would never have happened, because even if they had managed to bring him down, outsiders would have found it difficult to appropriate the Su family's vast wealth. If they were found out, they would also have to face the Su family's terrible retaliation. Lin Chen smiled and said, Uncle Su, Aunt Yang, don't worry. Take your time, these things can be solved. Su Guofeng and the others nodded. Yang Qingyue asked with concern, Husband, will other people target Lin because of this incident in the future? Su Guofeng shook his head. Basically no. He was able to ask the Dawson family to save me, and his enemies have to consider this. Besides, what benefit would they get by targeting him? Yang Qingyue said, but he used up Selina's favor. Su Guofeng thought of the image of Lin Chen saving Selina. That favor was used up, but Selina owed it again. The enemy doesn't know if Selina will still help. No one will take this risk without a huge benefit. The Dawson family is much stronger than us. Su Guofeng said. That's true. Yang Qingyue nodded. Lin Chen smiled and said, Aunt Yang, you're still a patient, so don't worry so much. The sky won't fall. The worst that can happen to the Su family is that the group goes bankrupt. If that really happens, you'll just live a simple life. A thatched cottage, 1 mu of good farmland, a cup of tea, and 100 million in savings. The group is the group, and the individual is the individual. Even if the group goes bankrupt, Su Guofeng and the others won't be poor. Yang Qingyue smiled. Su Guofeng laughed and said, Lin Chen is right. Don't worry, my dear, we'll still have a few 100 million in the bank. We'll just stay at home and take care of Cici. Yang Qingyue looked at Su Guofeng and said, I'm afraid Cici won't like it if you take care of her. You're good at cooking, but Lin Chen is even better. You're good at drawing, but Lin Chen is even better. Su Guofeng. Lin Chen said, Uncle Su is good at business and can make a lot of money. This is a skill that countless people want. Aunt Yang, shall I take your pulse? Yang Qingyue nodded and held out her hand. Lin Chen quickly reached out and took Yang Qingyue's pulse. After 2 or 3 minutes, Lin Chen laughed and said, Aunt Yang, I think you're already better. After you go back, just don't work too hard and rest well. Yang Qingyue let out a sigh of relief. The results of the hospital tests were good, and Lin Chen said so she was completely relieved. Linson, you go to the hotel and rest. You flew such a long way, and you went to the police station again. Yang Qingyue said. Lin Chen nodded. Su Guofeng got up and said, My wife, I'll see Lin Chen off. Soon Lin Chen and Su Guofeng were outside. Lin Chen, you saved Selina again. Although the odds of the enemy targeting you are not high, you still have to be careful. Su Guofeng reminded him. Lin Chen nodded. Su Guofeng, it's the same hotel as before. Just go to the front desk, tell them your name, and check in. Okay. Uncle Su, you be careful too. Lin Chen left. Su Guofeng returned to the hospital room. Yang Qingyue, husband, Lin helped you this time, and he lost a lot. Selina's life-saving kindness is not cheap. Okay. Su Guofeng nodded. Yang Qingyue said, should we give him some shares? After all, those shares will all belong to Meng Yao and him in the future.
He won't want it. Su Guofeng shook his head.
Yang Qingyue said,
Let's discuss it with Meng Yao first, and ask her to talk to Lin Chen. How about giving him 5% of the shares? 51% of the Su family shares are worth more than 30 billion yuan. 5% of the shares are worth more than 3 billion yuan. You're quite generous. Su Guofeng laughed.
Yang Qingyue, my daughter is with him, and they have a good relationship.
They have helped you this time, so what am I reluctant to give? It's just material things. You can't take them with you when you die. Su Guofeng looked at the time. Meng Yao should be getting up. You talk to her. I have no objection. Yang Qingyue quickly dialed Su Mengyao video call. It was morning on the Chinese side of the world. Su Mengyao was preparing a heartwarming breakfast for Lin Xiaoxi. Mom, is Dad going to be okay?
I'll video chat with you guys when I'm preparing breakfast for Lin Xiaoxian.
Su Mengyao said.
Yang Qingyue told her about the plan to give Lin Chen a share of the company.
Mom, of course I have no objections.
But I don't think you'll be able to give it to him, and I don't think Lin Chen will want it.
Su Mengyao said. Yang Qingyue said, that's why you have to think of a way. Talk to Lin Chen, it's yours sooner or later. Mom, I'll talk to Lin Chen. But I don't think it will work. Su Mengyao shook her head. Lin Chen doesn't lack money, and it's very easy for him to make money. Su Guofeng said, Mengyao, you go ahead.
After you said it, we'll persuade him properly.
How are things at the company?
Su Mengyao said, Dad, with this kind of thing happening, I don't think anyone will jump out and cause trouble these days.
Ah. Dad and Mom, I can't talk to you anymore. The eggs I fried are all black.
Half an hour later, Lin Chen arrived at the hotel and took a shower.
He also called Su Mengyao on video. Dad.
Su Xiaoxi called out joyfully. She was sitting in a dining chair, about to eat breakfast.
Lin Chen smiled and said, Cici, what are you having for breakfast? Su Xiaoxi said, Dad, it's eggs and noodles. Dad, look, the egg is a heart.
Lin Chen smiled.
Su Mengyao must have used an egg mold, which looked pretty.
She, try it. Su Mengyao said hopefully. Lin Xiaoxi took a bite quickly, and she froze.
What's wrong? Su Mengyao asked anxiously. Lin Xiaoxi was very confused. Mom, why doesn't it taste good? Lin Chen. Mengyao, did you forget to put salt?
Su Mengyao was dumbfounded. She suddenly remembered that she had indeed forgotten to put salt in. The first time she pan-fried the eggs, she put salt in, but the result was burnt. The second time, she forgot to put salt in. She, then don't eat the eggs, just eat the noodles.
Lin Xiaoxian tasted the noodles.
The noodles had been salted, and quite a lot of salt had been used.
Mom, I don't want to eat noodles today. I want to eat something else. Lin Xiaoxian looked at Su Mengyao pitifully. Su Mengyao tasted the noodles. She asked awkwardly, what do you want to eat? Lin Chen laughed and said, Mengyao, there are dozens of dumplings in the top compartment of the refrigerator. Boil some water and cook them for 10 minutes. Su Mengyao nodded.
Honey, Mom and Dad said they want to give you 5% of the company's shares. They told me to persuade you first.
Lin Chen was surprised, give me shares? Chapter 134 You are Lin Eudaxian? Yes. Su Mengyao nodded.
Lin Chen said, Wife, there's no need. I make my own money and spend it myself, and that way I feel more secure.
I can make a small goal every year. You can't spend it all, you simply can't. Su Mengyao said, Husband, really? 5% is worth more than 3 billion yuan.
Lin Chen laughed and said, In the past, I would have immediately accepted even 0.05%, let alone 5%.
Whoever tries to take it from me will have to deal with me. Forget it for now.
Otherwise, in the future, if people say I'm a deadbeat, I won't be able to argue back. Su Mengyao said, My parents feel that you've used up all the extremely valuable favors you have by helping my father.
They feel bad about it. Lin Chen looked at Lin Xiaoxi and said, Cici, you tell me, do I need to be paid by Grandpa for the help I've given him? Lin Xiaoxi shook her head. No need. We are family. Lin Chen, then if Dad helps you, how do you thank him? Lin Xiaoxian sweetly said, I'll kiss Dad.
Mom, you kiss Dad, that's thanks.
Su Mengyao. Mom kissing dad can't let you see.
Lin Xian can't talk to you anymore, the water is boiling and I'm going to drop the dumplings in.
You rest well. Su Mengyao hung up after saying that. The night passed. The next day, Lin Xian and Su Guofeng went to the hospital. Today, Yang Qingyue went through the discharge procedures and will return to China tomorrow. Knock, knock. Before they could leave the hospital, there was a knock on the door. Lin Xian got up and opened the door. Outside the door was Selina, holding a bouquet of flowers.
Mrs. Su, I heard that you were discharged today, so I came to visit. Congratulations on overcoming the illness and regaining your health.
Selina entered the room and smiled.
She gave the flowers to Yang Qingyue.
Thank you. Selina looked at Lin Xian and said, Mr. Lin, can we go somewhere quiet and talk?
Sure.
Lin Xian nodded. With Selina's looks, Yang Qingyue and the others wouldn't misunderstand. The two went outside.
There were quite a few places outside this hospital where people could rest. Lin Xian and the others sat down, and Selina said, Mr. Lin, you saved me again yesterday, and I would like to thank you and apologize once again. The gunman and the person behind him have been dealt with. Lin Xian nodded slightly. He wasn't surprised by this. The Dawson family was still very powerful, and Selina had control over most of the Dawson family's power. Since she hadn't died, anyone else who did would suffer greatly. Risk and reward go hand in hand. Because of this incident, I have a stronger grasp on the family, and this should not happen again in the future.
Congratulations.
Lin Xian congratulated. Serena said, someone in your country is cooperating with the Red Hand Gang, but the Red Hand Gang doesn't know who the other party is. It's also possible that the Red Hand Gang knows but isn't telling the truth.
Lin Xian nodded. Paper cannot hold back the fire, sooner or later we will know.
Serena laughed and said, now that we've finished talking about this, let's talk about cooperation.
Our Dawson family has a publishing house. Let's cooperate, great God Lin Yu. Lin Xian was taken aback. How did you know?
Serena said, I just saw a painting with words on it, and I'm very familiar with those words. I'm a fan of yours, Lin Yu Dishen.
Lin Xian looked at Serena in surprise. Serena laughed and said, I'm learning Chinese, and someone recommended the words you wrote.
I looked at the words and could actually see the forest, and I could hear the birds chirping in the forest.
That's amazing.
Then I read those fairy tales you wrote, they were great. Lin Xian shook his head.
I didn't expect Selina to know.
They were just putting things away when Su Guofeng took out the painting to admire it. I thought Lin Yu was very old, but I didn't expect you to be Lin Yu.
Lin Yu is so young. Selina was amazed. Lin Xian, Selina, please keep this a secret.
I don't want to reveal my identity as Lin Yu for the time being.
Selina was puzzled. Why?
Lin Xian said, my daughter is just over 2 years old.
If my identity is revealed, we will be mobbed whenever we go out.
Serena said, but if your identity is made public, some of the forces against the Su family will be much more restrained.
Fame is also a kind of energy.
Lin Yu has a large number of fans in China and abroad, and some calligraphy masters such as Jiang Xuesong support him. Lin Xian said, the situation of the Su family is not that bad, and it is not a bad thing to make some hidden enemies jump out.
He added in his heart. Especially enemies within the Su family.
You Chinese people like to hide your strength. This is true of your country, and also true of many individuals,
said Selina.
Lin Xian laughed, this is ancient wisdom, never let your enemies know how many chips you have. Once your trump card is revealed, you are not far from defeat.
Selina thought about it. I'll remember that. I'll keep your secret. Let's talk about cooperation.
I want the exclusive publishing rights to your book.
Lin Xian, how do you propose we cooperate?
Selina said seriously, Mr. Lin, although you have saved my life twice, I will not give you any special benefits because you saved my life.
We are just business partners. I understand. Tell me.
Selina, your fairy tales are loved by countless children. They should sell very well in many countries. I want all the rights outside of China, not just the rights to publish them in English, and not just the rights to publish them as books, including the rights to develop related products. There are many things that can be developed from a fairy tale, such as various dolls, for example, or turning the fairy tale into an animation. Lin Xian shook his head, for the time being, I don't plan to sell the peripheral rights. There is no problem with translating it into other languages, but I need to check it before publishing. The translation cannot distort his meaning.
No private goods can be included. You're not selling the peripheral rights? Lin Chen nodded. Let's talk about it later.
Once the book is published abroad many times, the peripheral copyright will rise, and it can be worth a lot of money in the future.
Okay.
I hope to buy out the publishing rights for each book. As long as the quality doesn't collapse, the price per book is 10 million US dollars. The quality of your first and second books is poor, and I will also give you 10 million US dollars per book. The total of the 3 books you have already published is 30 million US dollars,
said Selina. Lin Chen pondered. The price of 30 million US dollars is pretty good.
Chen Xinhuan told him that the highest offer from other publishers is currently 24 million US dollars.
It's not just the pure publishing price, there are other requirements.
After a while, Lin Chen said, okay. Sign these 3 books first, and in the future, if there is another book, 10 million US dollars per book. If either party does not agree, the cooperation can end.
Happy cooperation.
Selina extended her hand. Lin Chen shook her hand. Happy cooperation. Serena stood up and said, Mr. Lin, I will prepare the contract, and we can sign it later.
Goodbye. Chapter 135. The Bloody Hand Gang is looking for Lin Chen. Serena left Lin Chen and went to the ward. Lin Xin, what did Serena want with you? Yang Qingyue asked.
Su Guofeng next to her glanced at Yang Qingyue and said, Wife, you don't need to ask. Serena must have been looking for Lin Chen for something important.
Yang Qingyue was slightly worried. Selina was not beautiful but not ugly either. What if her family, which was so rich, poached her daughter's boyfriend?
Su Guofeng, on the other hand, was not worried.
Men understand men.
Lin Chen laughed and said, she and I are discussing a collaboration.
She just saw the painting and knew that I was Lin Yu.
The Dawson family has a publishing house.
Su Guofeng, did you strike a deal?
Lin Chen nodded. The rest of the people offered lower prices and conditions, but the price she offered was quite good. 10 million US dollars per book to buy out the overseas publishing rights. I still have the rights to the peripherals, film and television, audio, etc.
Yang Qingyue said in surprise, 10 million US dollars per book?
Yes. The 3 books I have already published are worth 30 million. Each subsequent book is worth 10 million, and both parties can terminate the cooperation at any time.
Lin Chen smiled. Yang Qingyue was amazed.
30 million US dollars, that's more than 200 million yuan, and after taxes it's still a huge sum.
Su Guofeng said, it's good to buy out the overseas rights directly.
It's hard to know what kind of sales each country will have, and you don't know how long it will be before you get such a large share of the profits. The condition that the contract can be terminated at any time is also quite generous. Lin Chen said, the conditions are generous for me, and they are the same for Selina. She is also afraid that I will try to scam her. The foundation of this cooperation is integrity.
Su Guofeng nodded. There was still a foundation of trust between Lin Chen and Selina. Selina really would repay a favor.
As for Lin Chen, he had already saved Selina twice.
Honey, talk to Lin Chen about the shares. Yang Qingyue said to Su Guofeng. Su Guofeng nodded. Lin Chen, we want to give you 5% of the shares. Meng Yao already told you, didn't she? Our shares will be yours anyway in the future. Lin Chen, Uncle Su, Meng Yao already told you. You also know that I will soon be earning 200 million yuan. Don't be too corrupt.
This money is enough to last a lifetime.
I don't have many material desires.
I hope to deepen my relationship with Meng Yao, but it's better for her and I to keep our finances separate.
I don't want our relationship to be tainted by interests. Su Guofeng nodded slightly. Okay, you really don't lack money.
Then let Jia Ye give it to Cici in the future. Lin Chen laughed and said, Uncle Su, there's no need for us to say anything more about what's yours and what's mine. In the future, it will all belong to Cici.
Ha, that's right.
Su Guofeng laughed aloud. Yang Qingyue said, Lin Xin, after you get married, you still need to try to have another child, a boy or a girl, it's fine.
With another child, your assets will be enough to share. Lin Chen nodded. Knock, knock. A doctor knocked on the door and came in. Ms. Yang, your discharge procedures are complete. You can leave at any time. If you have any questions, please contact us.
The doctor said with a smile.
Okay. Yang Qingyue nodded. It wasn't long before Lin Chen and the others left the hospital. Yang Qingyue's face showed a look of joy as she finally said goodbye to the hospital. I really want to go home now,
Yang Qingyue said when they returned to the hotel. Su Guofeng said, you just came out of the hospital, so you should rest for a while. Besides, Lin Chen needs to rest too, even if you don't.
He came all the way here yesterday. HM.
Yang Qingyue looked at Lin Chen and said, Lin Xin, Meng Yao should still be awake, why don't you video chat with her?
Lin Chen nodded. He dialed Su Mengyao video chat. Honey. Su Mengyao said. She called Lin Chen honey very naturally now. Lin Chen smiled and said, Mengyao, we've left the hospital.
As he said this, he turned the camera towards Su Guofeng and the others.
Su Mengyao's face flushed.
Her parents were actually there, and she was still a little shy about calling Lin Chen husband in front of them.
Dad, Mom. Su Mengyao called out. Yang Qingyue laughed and said, Mengyao, is Cici asleep? Let me see Cici, I miss Cici so much. Su Mengyao went into the bedroom and pointed the camera at Lin Xiaoxian.
Lin Xiaoxian, who was sleeping, was also very cute.
Daddy.
Lin Xiaoxian muttered in her mouth. Su Mengyao went outside the bedroom and said, Lin Chen, Xiaoxian has fallen under your spell. You've been gone for a day, and I don't know how many times she said daddy.
Lin Chen smiled and said, we'll be back the day after tomorrow. You didn't go to the office today? Su Mengyao nodded. I may have to go to the office for half a day tomorrow.
I'll ask Xinxing to come over and take care of her tomorrow. I originally wanted to bring her to the office, but it's not convenient with all the rumors going around. Su Guofeng said sternly, when I get back, I'll have to straighten things out at the office.
After chatting for a while, Lin Chen hung up the video call.
It was daytime here, but nighttime over there for Su Mengyao, who was almost due for bed.
Uncle Su, Auntie Yang, I'm going out for a bit.
Buy some gifts for Mengyao and Cici or something.
Lin Chen smiled. Su Guofeng, we have 2 bodyguards here. Let one of them go out with you, it'll be safer. Uncle Su, no need.
My combat ability is not bad, and they are not my match combined.
I will be careful. Lin Chen said. Su Guofeng and Yang Qingyue were surprised. They knew Lin Chen knew martial arts, but Lin Chen was this good?
The bodyguards they hired were very strong.
Su Guofeng had an accident because there were too few bodyguards.
No matter how strong the bodyguards are, they still need to sleep, eat, and go to the toilet.
Soon Lin Chen left the hotel.
When leaving the hospital, Lin Chen noticed that someone was tailing him. He also noticed the same thing when he arrived at the hotel.
The tailing person was far away, and Su Guofeng's bodyguard didn't notice, but Lin Chen's 5 senses were much stronger than normal people. Which faction are they from?
Lin Chen muttered to himself. It didn't feel good to have enemies in the dark, and he wanted to find out.
If he came out alone, the enemy would likely show themselves. An hour later, Lin Chen had bought the gift. Friend, our boss would like you to come with us.
2 men walked up to Lin Chen and one of them said. Lin Chen was 1.8 meters tall, and these 2 men were taller than him.
Lin Chen frowned, who is your boss? I won't just follow you if I don't know who your boss is.
The other burly man grinned and said, that's not up to you.
This isn't Huagua, we hold the truth.
He lifted up his shirt to show Lin Chen the truth at his waist.
Lin Chen's face was calm.
He could instantly knock these 2 guys out at close range.
Lead the way. Lin Chen said indifferently.
The other party wanted to talk, and if they wanted to kill, they would just do it. He also wanted to know what kind of force the other party was.
Soon Lin Chen went outside and got into a car.
After 10 minutes or so, the car drove into a warehouse. Lin Chen and the others got off the car.
Several people gathered around them. Clap. One of them applauded softly. Lin Chen, you have a lot of guts.
Lin Chen said indifferently, if I'm not wrong, you are from the Blood Hand gang.
You should know that I saved Salina. Do you dare to shoot me? Go ahead, what do you want from me?